$27 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For a free quote, call 800-601-6992. That's 800-601-6992. 800-601-6992. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price could vary depending on your health.
Good afternoon. It is 2:05 for 1510 AM, WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. My name is Brian Kelly. Senator Ron Johnson is the first Republican to announce his opposition to the GOP tax overhaul, although it did pass through the GOP House today. Johnson cited concerns around the tax treatment for pass-through entities, saying the plan favors corporations unfairly.
And so I'm just looking for a fair shake for all businesses to maintain the competitive balance and position of all businesses. Let's not upset that apple cart and harm our economy.
Senator Johnson said he would work with colleagues to fix the fair treatment issue. If they can pass it without me, let them. I'm not going to vote for this tax package. Senator Johnson will be a guest with the Devil's Advocates tomorrow. Tonight, increasing clouds, lows in the low 30s, currently 37 degrees in Milwaukee and 35 in Waukesha for 1510 AM. My name is Brian Kelly.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Happy Thursday to you, Dominic.
Hey, Crudy, always a pleasure, my dear friend. Another busy day here on Brady Street.
Are there any other kind?
No, one of these days I wouldn't mind it slowing down just for a little bit, but hell, that's the life we've chosen, baby.
Can't keep up with the 24-hour news cycle, Mr. Salvia?
We do our best.
Dominic, breaking news this afternoon from the Hill. The House GOP has passed a god-awful tax cut for the rich bill.
Woohoo!
No Democratic support, 13 Republican dissenters. But Paul Ryan, he pulled his chestnuts out of the fire just in time for Christmas. This would have had big ramifications for the speaker. But Dom, why don't you help me out here, man? What is in the bill? What's the House doing to the good people? Mostly they're doing for the rich people, but help me explain it.
From the Washington Post, the House passed its version of the Republican tax overhaul Thursday, notching a key win for President Trump and House Speaker Paul Ryan. But obstacles remain in the Senate, which is refining its own version of the legislation amid objections from key GOP senators, including our very own Senator Ron Johnson coming in studio tomorrow. Maybe we'll ask him about it. The bill passed with 227 votes in favor and 205 votes against. 13 Republicans, Curdy, as you noted, voted against the bill, and no Democrats voted for it. Trump and Republican leaders in Congress are aiming to pass a bill that would cut taxes by as much as $1.5 trillion by the end of the year. Both the House and Senate bills delivered the majority of the cuts to businesses and wealthy Americans, but there are significant differences between the bills that will have to be resolved. Trump visited the Capitol shortly before an early afternoon vote, speaking to Republican lawmakers behind closed doors to urge them
please pass something
to support the cornerstone of his economic agenda. I don't even know if Trump knows or cares what's in it. As long as he gets something that he can do his really cool signature on and turn around and show it to the folks, he gets his victory. He doesn't give a damn.
Hashtag winning.
Trump's parting words to Republicans, according to one person in the room who was not authorized to comment publicly: I love you. Now go vote.
It's not about me.
Even before the vote, GOP leaders were confident that the pep talk wasn't necessary. Fewer than a dozen of the 240 House Republicans said they were opposing the bill or had lodged strong objections. As of Wednesday morning, the GOP could have lost up to 22 votes and still passed the bill on Thursday.
9 votes to spared.
There's not a lot of minds to change in there, said Rep. Tom Cole, a Republican from Oklahoma. Cole said that Trump's remarks were upbeat and packed with one-liners, that the president did not include the type of threats he delivered when he visited lawmakers ahead of the crucial health care vote.
Listen, you motherfuckers.
I love you, Brian. Trump thanked party leaders, expressed optimism about the Senate bill, and said he believed the Congress ought to move to welfare reform after completing the tax bill, according to...
Slow down,
Yes.
fellas.
According to several members in the room who spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss the private meeting. He also mentioned his trip to Asia, including his efforts to free several UCLA basketball players accused of shoplifting in China. On Wednesday, House Majority Whip Steve Scalise, the vote count was looking good after weeks working with individual members to explain the plan and address objections that ranged from the parochial to the fundamental. I think most people know how important it is to cut taxes and get the economy moving again, and this bill does that. Crudy, though, House Republicans...
So claimeth the GOP?
House Republicans voted on the bill with key questions unanswered.
Nobody knows more about taxes than I do.
Well, here's what I would say. One of the keyest questions, when you're in politics at least, what will this legislation do to my re-election chances?
Wait, what do you, come on. This is a tax bill to
I hate to be
lift
cynical.
the burden of oppressive taxes on the American people and to get this economy moving again.
When you talk about the economy moving, you're talking about Republican donors opening up their checkbooks and paying their
personal economy.
Well, yes, I guess it will stimulate that. Of course, we've heard threats, Dom, if the Republicans didn't get this one done. And of course, this is far from being done. You got a Senate bill. But if the Republicans didn't get this one done, then no Christmas, nothing but coal in their stockings.
Well, it's not done yet, Crudy, and let me get briefly to a couple of the key questions that are unanswered.
I have many questions.
Trump and GOP leaders have long claimed their plan will create economic growth that will offset the bill's $1.5 trillion revenue cut, negating any long-term impact on the national debt. House Ways and Means Committee Chairman Kevin Brady told reporters last month that dynamic scores of the tax plan, taking economic growth into account, would be available before the floor vote. But neither the Joint Committee on Taxation or the Trump administration have released any analysis showing whether Trump's economic claims are viable.
Now, Dom,
Nobody knows more about debt than I do.
how bad does a bill have to be that you can't even roll out the dynamic scoring? Dynamic scoring means like fictional scoring. Like we're just going to make stuff up now. We're going to pretend like tax cuts for the rich ever historically have created economic growth. I mean, even Scotty Wanker's got to reach back to JFK when rates went from like 90 to 76%. See? Tax cuts work. That's the only evidence they can point towards historically. So dynamic scoring anyways means like a work of fiction. And they can't even provide us their own work of fiction because they can't even put a fictional spin that would make this bill make any freaking sense.
The Joint Committee on Taxation does have a report out. We'll get to that in a bit. Let me wrap up this piece here. One optimistic study of an earlier iteration of the House bill by conservative-leaning Tax Foundation found that it would, in fact, create almost 900,000 jobs and marginally increase wages and growth over the long term. But that would offset only a portion of the bill's total cost, adding roughly $1 trillion to the budget deficit over the long term.
Through the rosiest of conservative glasses.
Yes, Tax Foundation. The House bill delivers more than 80% of its overall cuts to corporations, business owners, and wealthy families who are subject to the federal estate tax, according to estimates released by the Joint Committee on Taxation, the Congress's nonpartisan tax analyst. But most middle-class Americans would see an immediate tax cut because of a lowering of individual rates, the near doubling of the standard deduction, and a larger child tax credit. But many households who itemize their deductions, taking advantage of write-offs for state income taxes, medical expenses, and more, could see immediate tax increases.
Lucky me.
In future years, the benefit of the bill for individuals wane because of the phase-out of a key tax credit and the use of a slower measure of inflation to recalibrate bracket levels.
You know, dynamic scoring.
You don't even know what a write-off is.
Tom, here's what I know. The American people are not exactly clamoring for this legislation outside of perhaps some billionaires. At thehill.com, Brent Badowski reports this GOP tax plan makes midterm landslide more likely for Dems. Now, this is an opinion piece, I would note. The most important political data point of the day can be found in a recent poll from Quinnipiac, in which the popularity of the pending GOP tax bill was only 25%. Ooh. Let's watch future polling, but make no mistake, the GOP tax bill could well become the latest GOP albatross in the midterm elections, coupled with a hugely unpopular family of disastrous healthcare bills earlier this year. The second most important political data point of the day is the generic balloting between the parties in the midterm elections, which can be found at Real Clear Politics and shows Democrats with a huge lead over Republicans, 11 points. Generic balloting, the Dems are up by 11. 25% of the people claim they want this bill, and the Republicans say full speed ahead.
Well, and 25.
I love you, man.
And whether or not they grasp the reality or believe what they're being told, notwithstanding.
A question for Republicans. When you're down by landslide numbers and polling against Democrats, why do you push a tax bill favored by only 25% of voters and include in that bill provisions of your health care bills that were favored by even fewer voters?
Because it's a winning combination.
If this is your strategy to win the midterm elections, that's a question. Republicans are in big trouble with voters. There is now a real prospect that Democrats will win a landslide victory in the midterm elections. The odds of Democrats regaining control of the House of Representatives are now, in my view, slightly above even money. If Democrat Doug Jones wins, I don't think that's going to happen. If Democrat Doug Jones
I'll take that action.
Wins the Senate election in Alabama, control of the Senate would be seriously in play as well. The GOP has a Trump problem. Republican members dread the prospect of alienating the Trump base, which is in the range of 35% of voters. But by courting this constituency, Republicans hyper-energize the much larger majority of voters who oppose Trump, often vehemently. Count me in that group.
Yeah, you're counted.
The GOP has a Roy Moore problem. Moore creates the ultimate negative branding problem for Republicans in every state. His extreme views and credible allegations of abuse of women make Moore pure anathema to the huge majority of voters in blue, red, and purple states. The GOP has a blue state problem, which will give a huge boost to Democratic prospects of regaining control of the House. When prominent Republicans consider eliminating the deduction for state and local taxes, for example, they are offering a political suicide pill to many GOP members of the House and Senate who represent blue states and districts. For this reason and others, the GOP has a tax bill problem as events unfold. Let's watch whether future polls show the popularity of the GOP tax bill rise above or fall below the 25% of voters. Current trends do not bode well for Republicans. I'll skip the rest. Brent Bodowski was an aide to former Senator Lloyd Bentsen and Rep. Bill Alexander, both Democrats, who was the chief deputy majority whip of the U.S. House of Representatives.
So, in summary, Republicans are in big trouble. The GOP has a Trump problem. The GOP has a Roy Moore problem. The GOP has a blue state problem.
But now the GOP has a tax problem because the people don't want this. This isn't even a priority amongst Republican voters. I mean, perhaps you can say, get something done. Get anything done, for Christ's sake. You could say that that's a priority. Donald Trump needs a win. I love you, man. Please go vote for this.
For the love of God.
You know, you can say it's a victory for Trump, but I hardly see this as any sort of victory for the House of Representatives, for Paul Ryan's cause, for Republicanism.
What are you talking about? If they push it through and they somehow are able to mesh their deal with the Senate, they get some sort of big tax breaks for corporations and wealthy people and, maybe a little bit for the rest of us. What do they give a damn, man? They're doing it for the donors. How much money are you giving to Republicans? They're not going to lose your money or your vote.
No, but what about the Republicans? What about the Trump voters? What about the lies? I mean, the only way to push this through...
They believe the lies.
They don't... The voters, you think the voters are going to believe the lies?
The Republican Trump voters, yes.
Start looking at their own checkbooks when they start seeing the further erosion of our country. And the commons, they're going to say that's all good? That's what we always wanted? I mean, you could bang on Obama for Obamacare, but that was mostly to the benefit of red states. This one's going to hurt everybody, except for the Koch brothers. Paul Ryan, he'll do just fine this Christmas, I suspect, but it's still got to get through the Senate, and that's a bigger hill to climb. Folks, we're the Devil's Advocates climbing hills since 2012. Come back with us. Join us on the phones, 844-967-2789. Me and my buddy Sisyphus, damn it, we're doing this show on Brady.
Nobody knows more about taxes than I do.
It's a write-off for them.
How is it a write-off?
They just write it off.
Write it off what?
Jerry, all these big companies, they write off everything.
You don't even know what a write-off is.
Do you?
No, I don't.
But they do. And they're the ones writing it off.
I want to release my tax returns, but I can't release it while I'm under an audit. Wisconsin's doing terribly. The roads are a disaster because they don't have any money to rebuild them. They're borrowing money like crazy. They projected a $1 billion surplus, and it turns out to be a deficit of $2.2 billion. The schools are a disaster. The hospitals and education is a disaster. And when I see Scott Walker with his little motorcycle and puts his helmet on and he gets off and he makes a speech, but he's always riding like, he gets off a bike like he's a big tough guy, okay, or a little tough guy. Their lobbyists, their special interests, and their donors will start calling. They gave you $1 million to your campaign, and this one gave you $5 million, and this one, you have to do it. You know what he's going to say? Okay, I'll do it.
Mr. Trump, you're using the talking points of the Democrats, and as we all know, that failed facts.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Hi, this is Brad Saug, owner of Zero Res Madison Carpet Cleaning. Zero Res is the best new technology in carpet cleaning. We have a patented process using empowered water, a high-tech process in which we force the water to act like soap. It doesn't want to stay in that state. It's jacked up and it's angry and it wants to hit the dirt and then it neutralizes. When we're done, all that's left in your carpet is just light moisture. In the end, you get the cleanest, greenest, healthiest carpet cleaning available. Call us at 848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it backward or forward. It's the right way to clean.
Make sure you tune in to News Talk 1510 a.m. throughout the day for breaking news and up-to-the-minute political commentary. Monday through Friday, start your day with the Earl Ingram Show, 7 to 9 a.m. From 9 to 11, take a deep dive into Milwaukee news and Wisconsin politics on 414 Wisconsin with Brian Kelly and me, Stu Mann, the newsman. From 11 to 2, it's the Tom Hartman program. Then from 2 to 5, join us for the greatest radio show ever, The Devil's Advocates with Dom and Crute. Join the Resistance. News Talk 1510 a.m. Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
When you need an attorney, trust the voice of experience. The only choice, Lawton and Cates.
I needed an attorney because I was injured at work. I wanted to find a reputable attorney. The results that I got with Lawton and Cates were very good. I'm very happy with the way I was treated and the end result that I got.
Trust the voice of experience. Call the attorneys at Lawton and Cates. 282-6200. 282-6200.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call a number on the for sale sign?
Great question. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you the home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner to buy that house at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust.
Like you?
Like me. I will find the home that best fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from the offer through closing day. And the best part is that the buyer doesn't have to pay a dime for me to represent them.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty 608-284-9311 or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
Hey, America, we need to have a little talk. We've got more food than we know what to do with in this country, yet 17 million kids in America are struggling with hunger. Makes no sense. Luckily, the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks has volunteers gathering excess food and getting it to hungry kids. They're kind of like food angels. Hey, become a food angel yourself by supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. We can't do it without your help. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
To the Devil's Advocates Radio Show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, 1510 AM WRRD, streaming live on YouTube and on Facebook. We're on Twitter at Devil Radio, and we're on the phones toll-free nationwide, 844-967-2789.
You want I take Gary out back?
Yeah, yes.
Beat him a little for you.
Come on, Gary.
Come on, Gary. Roy Moore speaking soon. Apparently a White House presser as well. I suspect Huckabee Sanders. That's never memorable. But we got Wisco Paul. We taking him first?
Yeah, let's take Paul right away.
844-967-2789. Be like our pal, Wisco Paul. Paul, welcome back, man. What do you got today?
Well, first of all, Ryan is a tool, and this will be the end of what's left of the middle class. And this will even hurt the wild counties out there, the people living in the great big homes, because I've seen this show twice, Devils. I've seen it once under Reagan, and Bush one had to raise taxes to fix it. And then I saw it under Bush 2, and we crashed everything. And if they progress with this tax cut, which really isn't a tax cut, you're just putting off things for a later date, it'll be a good crash this time. And I for the love of life, or love of God, I mean, I don't understand the GOP. It just doesn't make any sense. Hey, I'm a little worked up today on this one, so I'm going to let you guys go before I say something I shouldn't say. Have a good day.
Thanks,
you
Paul.
as well, Paul. That's always my fear on this program, that I say something I shouldn't say. You know, Leah Vukmer, Wisconsin's own state senator, wannabe U.S. senator, she's all down for the elimination of SALT. That would be deductions. She's all down with that because even though, we're a high quote-unquote tax state, Scott Walker's been lowering the tax threshold, and therefore we'll stick it to all the blue state Democrats.
Well, she's an officer of ALEC, and this is
an
ALEC issue. Of course she's for it. She would rather represent ALEC than represent the constituents here in the state of Wisconsin.
Well, ALEC is her constituency. That's the part, Paul. I mean, I don't know why Republican constituencies, why the actual, Joe six-pack voter doesn't get this. But the only constituency the Republicans give a damn about are the Koch brothers, the ALEC. They're all down for corporations. I mean, even your buddy, Ron Johnson's coming in tomorrow. This tax plan's not really good for small businesses, not for pass-through businesses, not even Ron Johnson's business or mine. But this tax bill, it's a hell of a great deal for corporations. And if you got trillions, and the estimate is $3 trillion in profits made in America being held in offshore banks, well, Paul Ryan wants to bring it back, Tom. Doesn't want the corporations here going Irish.
Better than going country.
Or going Galt, which is such a ridiculous claim. No one ever stopped making money because people were taxing them. They might reinvest it, but they don't stop making it. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates, 844-967-2789. Your call's welcome here.
Voodoo economics. Did it work? Anyone? Anyone know the effects? It did not work.
And they're the ones.
Hi, I'm Crudy. I'm here with my friend Tom Alonzi, Principal Officer with Teamsters Local 200. Tom, why are you union strong, Teamster strong?
Well, because, Crudy, the Teamsters are the most powerful labor union in North America with 1.4 million members standing together for better wages, benefits, and working conditions at their respective places of work.
Tom, what are the unions going to do for the next generation?
The same things we Teamsters have done for the generations before them, Crudy. Give them respect, dignity, and representation with a legal binding contract with their employer, not just the empty promises of an ever-changing employee handbook.
Tom, if people want to know more about the unions or joining the Teamsters, what do they do?
Well, Crudy, they can simply call Teamsters Local 200 at 414-771-6363 and say, I'd like to know more about becoming a Teamster. Or they can go to our website at teamsterslocal200.com.
Be union strong. Stand with Teamsters Local 200, like News Talk 1510 AM and your friend Crudy.
The Stephanie Miller Show is on twice daily, 6 to 9 p.m. and midnight to 3 a.m. You can stream The Stephanie Miller Show and all of our fine programming on newstalk1510am.com.
You're listening to WIN, Workers Independent News, a diversified media enterprises production. I'm Doug Cunningham. Former BCTGM union Nabisco workers want you to stand with them on a boycott of Nabisco products like Oreos, Ritz crackers, and Chips Ahoy. Listen to their message on why they want you to join their Nabisco boycott.
We are the BCTGM fighting for American jobs. Nabisco, maker of iconic snack brands like Oreo, Ritz crackers, and Chips Ahoy, has made its fortunes in America, and its patriotic response has been to send U.S. jobs to Mexico. As a result, consumers across the U.S. continue to boycott their Mexican-made products. Corporate revenues are down across North America. Consumers are sending a loud, clear message. Now, religious leaders from all faiths across the U.S. are calling for an investigation into this Nabisco business model and have scheduled a 6-city tour to look deeper into the matter. Just as the NAFTA negotiations are in the forefront, the faith community will begin to talk to workers, politicians, and other faith-based leaders addressing this U.S. jobs exodus by Nabisco from a moral and ethical perspective and widely publishing their findings. The BCTGM and Interfaith Workers Justice, its faith-based coalition partner, ask all people of faith and social conscience to join this fight against Nabisco's exploitation of workers in the U.S. and in Mexico. Millions are already not buying Nabisco products made in Mexico, and it's already impacting their bottom line. Join our fight for moral and economic justice at fightforamericanjobs.org.
The city of Portland, Oregon is legally fighting an effort by a right-wing anti-union group to get private contact information and home addresses of public workers. The Freedom Foundation, part of the right-wing State Policy Network, is out to attack and weaken unions. The State Policy Network has said it wants to deliver a mortal blow to public worker unions. The Center for Media and Democracy says internal documents show that the State Policy Network is the tip of the spear of an extreme right-wing movement active nationwide. As reported earlier in The Guardian, based on the documents obtained by the Center for Media and Democracy, the goal of a multi-million-dollar campaign now underway is to defund and defang unions. The city of Portland has sued to block the Freedom Foundation from getting public worker personal information. The Freedom Foundation has also sued the city of Portland to get this public worker information so it can then go to homes and call the workers as part of an anti-union campaign. When it comes to paying its fair share of taxes, Nike should just do it. That's the message the AFL-CIO is sending to Nike, saying that Nike should pay its fair share of U.S. taxes to help finance U.S. schools, infrastructure, and hospitals. The Labor Federation says Nike should limit its offshore tax avoidance schemes and pay up. The recent Paradise Papers release shows Nike shifted billions of dollars in profits offshore to a Bermudian subsidiary and then to a Dutch limited partnership. The AFL-CIO is submitting a shareholder proposal to Nike's board, urging that Nike adopt responsible tax principles. You've been listening to WIN, Workers Independent News. For more information, visit workersindependentnews.com.
The Devil's Advocates. Never personal, only politics.
Welcome to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, or welcome back. Hopefully you've been listening since 2. Dom, I'm a little distracted. Roy Moore doing a press conference, and apparently he's not dropping out of the race.
And apparently he does not have hemorrhoids.
Or maybe he does have hemorrhoids. He kept mentioning hemorrhoids. And he said, I was given the advice, something to this effect. I don't want to paraphrase it incorrectly, but I was told to have hemorrhoids because it gives me a concerned look on my face. And I might have missed the punchline in some way, shape, or form, but it was pretty close to that, and it didn't make a lick of sense, Dom.
Well, I guess, we're not Alabamian, man. We don't get it.
Is this the sort of political advice he's getting? Skip the preparation H. It's good for your political career?
Anybody here have herpes?
Yeah, it gives you a concerned look.
Let's take some of the sound. I mean, we might be missing something good. Fancy Brian, let's work with me here.
Herpes, trust me.
That's not what he said.
Supremacy, or we're losing our form of government.
Roy Moore, senatorial candidate.
Many of you have recognized that this is an effort by Mitch McConnell and his cronies to steal this election from the people of Alabama, and they will not stand for it. They overcame $30 million and voted me in the primary, and now they're trying a different tactic. They even, the other day we got a call from one big magazine that you all recognize if I say the name. I don't want to say it.
Penthouse.
But they got a call that said, asked me to step down from the campaign. Well, I want to tell you who needs to step down. That's Mitch McConnell.
Now that woman over his right shoulder, she does sure like a pearl necklace, Tom.
There's been comments about me taking a stand.
Thick pearls.
Yes, I have taken a stand in the past. I'll take a stand in the future, and I'll quit standing when they lay me in that box and put me in the ground. I'm proud to stand with people that I see behind me and with the people of Alabama to bring forth the truth to Washington, D.C.
Can't stand at the
Not
mall.
just about what we stand for, but what the people of this country stand for.
Creeper.
An acknowledgement of God, an acknowledgement of the Constitution, an acknowledgement that we need moral value back in our country. And without God, we can never succeed.
I
want to thank you for coming here. I want to
Can we talk about herpes?
close with just saying, may God bless you, bless the state of Alabama, and the United States of America. Thank you.
I don't think he's got a transgender problem, Tom. I think he's got a hemorrhoids problem.
Judge Roy Moore speaking today. Crudy, I don't know if you saw this one. An Alabama woman who has accused Republican U.S. Senator Roy Moore of sexually harassing her in the late 70s, when all the good sexual harassment went on, said he was banned from the mall where she worked after she complained about his repeated unwanted advances towards her.
Transgender troops in our bathroom.
I went to my manager and talked to him about it and asked him basically what could be done, Becky Gray told ABC News late Wednesday night. Later on, he came back through my department and told me Moore had been banned from the mall.
I didn't even know it was possible to get banned from the mall. I mean, I realize that might be considered a private, institution. You could keep someone out of your real estate. We keep the doors locked here, whatever possible. But how do you get banned from the mall, Dom? You got to be some sort of special sort.
Well, when you're the 30-year-old assistant attorney general, whatever it was, creeper,
district attorney.
District attorney,
pedophile,
hanging
allegedly
around the arcade,
transgender.
Trying to pick up young girls. I guess perhaps some people took umbrage with that. Moral clarity. We got to get back to God.
Now, here's the problem for Democrats right now, because I'm enjoying this Roy Moore stuff. I mean, if Alabama wants Roy Moore to represent them, I'd say Alabama gets what they deserve. I mean, the guy before him was Jeff Sessions. Right. I mean, he seemingly is representative of the fine people of Alabama. But here's the problem for Democrats. It's Al Franken. Suddenly we got a Democratic U.S. senator that's been accused, and Dom probably did this, at least acknowledged that he took an inappropriate photograph, where he was cupping the breast of a sleeping woman. She's quite attractive, but it really doesn't matter. It wasn't like she had consented to the photograph. Now, Al Franken readily admits that was A, in bad taste, B, without her consent, and C, he's apologetic. The same woman says, while Franken was on a USO tour, they were rehearsing a scene in which he was supposed to kiss her, and he insisted upon the fact that he, get to try it out for real?
Well, you got to practice.
Put his hand behind her head, smooched in for the kiss, and apparently inserted his tongue into her mouth, which she did not at all want.
Well, that's what we've heard.
Yes, we've heard. Her name, Leanne Tweeden. We have some sound. If we're going to go here,
let's go here.
Let's play some of the sound from Leanne Tweeden.
You got to play it from both sides.
We played experiences. Yes, absolutely.
Our righty pedophile, and now we've got our inappropriate U.S. Senator from Minnesota. That's the neighboring state, Dom. Let's play the sound. Let's start from the top.
I was violated. I was disgusted. That's not what I was expecting. All I could think about was, that's what you wrote that in the script for, so you could do that to me? We rehearsed the line, and I'm coming towards him, and he comes up and he grabs me and he puts his hand behind my head, and he aggressively comes in and he mashes his mouth up against mine, and he sticks his tongue in my mouth. I told him, you ever do that to me again, you're going to get punched in the face or kneed in the, you know what. You know, you don't want to be seen as the difficult one. You don't want to be the one that's, causing trouble. You're in a war zone, for goodness sakes. He thought he could get away with it, and that it was funny. And then it's funny that you can grab someone's breast while they're sleeping and just think that, hey, I can get away with this.
Now, I'm not going to defend Al Franken, but it did not appear to me that A, his hand were touching the breast. That doesn't mean he wasn't simulating cupping her breast. And B, she's wearing a flak jacket. But that does not in any way excuse the behavior of Al Franken. I would also point out, Dom, this was before he was a U.S. Senator, as are these accusations against Roy Moore. And as far as I know, as are the accusations against Donald Trump, all before they were elected to their respective offices. And Roy Moore is still going to get elected on December 12th.
No, he's not.
Yes, no, he's I think he will.
No, he's not.
Transgender troops in our bathroom.
Al Franken did apologize, according to The Hill, on Thursday after a woman accused him of kissing and groping her. Here's his statement, or at least part thereof. I certainly don't remember the rehearsal for the skit in the same way, but I send my sincerest apologies to Leanne. He said, as to the photo, it was clearly intended to be funny, but it wasn't. I shouldn't have done it.
Do we have that sound, Fancy Brian? Do we have the actual Franken sound?
It was a statement that he released. We do not have. We have some more sound. Yeah, go ahead, Curdy.
You know, Al Franken today. There are a number of U.S. senators currently calling for ethics investigation of Al Franken. They include Tammy Baldwin from Wisconsin.
And Al Franken.
From Minnesota. Yeah. I suspect that unlike some of these prior episodes, and again, I don't know the details. It seems like one of these stories come out and then potentially more and more of these stories come out. Just ask Mr. Moore, Judge Moore, soon to be Senator Moore from Alabama.
Nope.
Transgender.
And of course, Donald Trump's got 16 accusers of his own, Dom, that we know of. But I would say, barring some other accusations against Al Franken, perhaps it is possible Al Franken truly did something despicable that he can move beyond and be regretful for. But we as Democrats, we got to stop pretending like it's only the Republicans that do stuff like this. I mean, I don't know how Democrats, and Rush Limbaugh started his show today, and damn it, he made some good points. He said, this is terrible for the Democrats, talking about the conduct of Al Franken, because Roy Moore was something of a microcosm. It was to club Roy Moore, by extension, was to club Donald Trump. To talk about Donald Trump's own confessed bad behavior, his own groping of women, his own whatever. And now the Democrats, suddenly they lose that club against both Roy Moore and Donald Trump.
But that's politicizing it. It's greater than that. Certainly it's about the abuse of men in power, trying to take advantage of women that they think that they can take advantage of, Crudy. I mean, it's not necessarily a Republican or a Democratic thing. I certainly don't think all Republicans are like Roy Moore. I certainly don't think all Democrats are like Anthony Weiner. I mean, that's a broad brush. I mean, what is the difference between the, well, people are human. People make mistakes. People take advantage of other people. People think that they're entitled to other people's bodies and property. I mean, that's really the issue here. It's not whether or not they think they should have higher taxes or lower taxes, or we should be more of a socialist or democratic or country. Those aren't the issues. It's a matter of people think they can take advantage of those with whom they have less respect. Let's hear more.
In other words, much like the House-passed bill, they have no respect for the American taxpayers unless they're very rich, right?
That's right. Let's get a couple more sound bites here from Leanne Tweeden talking about her experience with Al Franken. Let's continue on to cut 9, please.
And he just kept persisting, and it just reminded me of like the Harvey Weinstein tape that you heard the girl when she was wired up for the NYPD, and he's just persistent and badgering and just relentless, you know. I just remember I almost punched him, because every time I see him now, like, my hands clench into fists, and I'm sure that's probably why. And I said, if you ever do that to me again, I'm not going to be so nice about it the second time. Nothing like that is ever funny. I mean, is it funny if he does that to your sister or your daughter or your wife? Already assaulting me backstage and all the little petty things he was doing to belittle me and how he treated me and sort of, you know, in succession, and then it ended with that. He had a chance to apologize to me then because he knew exactly what he did to me then, and that picture was out there. This is happening in Middle America. This is happening, you know, for women that work at Chili's. This is happening for women who work in an office building somewhere in Iowa and Kansas and Florida. I mean, this is happening to women who have you know, no power and no say to speak up. Maybe I can be somebody's Jackie Spear and they can tell their story in real time and not wait. I've gotten a phone call from a woman that I've only gotten a message and that said that something similar has happened to her and I haven't returned it yet.
He then grabbed my shoulder and began kissing me again very aggressively and placed his hand on my breast. And I said, come on, man, get real. He repeated my words back to me, get real, as he began thrusting his genitals.
Now, that last one was in reference to Donald Trump.
Well, the Al Franken accuser is credible, Don, but the Donald Trump accusers, according to the lady on the boob tube right now, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, live from the press room, all 16 of them, Don, they're liars.
Well, I think we should come back and play some of the sound of the Donald Trump accusers. I mean, I absolutely agree with Leanne Tweeden. I've got a wife, I got a sister, I got a daughter, I got a mother. I don't want anybody, I don't give a damn what your political affiliation is. You think you can take advantage of other people and treat people like that? That is a problem. We're going through a purge right now of this mentality in this country, and everybody needs to take note and change and address these behaviors.
Confession, Dom. I called your sister earlier today. I owed Lisa a phone call, so I just want you to know.
My sister, she could take care of herself. I got no worries about that.
I want you to know it was mostly on the up and up.
Mostly.
I love that girl.
I love my sister, Lisa.
She's a great one. Folks, we are the Devil's Advocates. We like to think we're not so bad ourselves. And you, we love you as well, especially when you join us on the phones. 844-967-2789. We're going to play you some of the Donald Trump accusers in their own words. There's 16 of them. There is a video of each of these women in their own words accusing Donald Trump. We'll share a little more on the other side. Come back with us. Devil's Advocates on WRRD 1510 AM, Wisconsin's only Resistance Radio.
Crime, corruption, immorality, abortion, sodomy, sexual perversion sweep our land.
Now, who's responsible for this unwarranted attack on my person?
Transgender troops in our bathroom.
And they're the ones writing it off.
Did you ever eat a perfect peach? Flavorful and succulent, juice dripping from your mouth. That's what you can expect every time you shop at Pete's Fruit Market. A perfect peach or any other fresh produce to satisfy your taste buds. Try Pete's brand new, clean, bottled, full-service grocery store on Martin Luther King and North Avenue. Daily specials, organic fruits and vegetables, and always a perfect peach. Go to Pete's Fruit Market in Bronzeville. Tell them the Devil's Advocates sent you.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
I don't know if you know the Devil's Advocates, but they are kind of a big deal.
Well, you guys are having a good show so far.
Hey, could you say that again? Just not for our sake, Paul, but for the sake of the audience.
Yeah, tell everybody once again what a great show we are having.
You guys have a good show almost every day.
Wow, almost. All right, thanks for calling, Paul. I'm just kidding.
okay, every day.
Tweet some shade at you, Paul.
The Devil's Advocates, weekday afternoons on 1510 a.m. Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
I was on Zero Res Madison's Facebook page the other day, and they have almost 2,000 testimonials from local customers. Apparently, I'm not the only one stoked on how cool this company is. A green technology that actually works better and doesn't cost more. It's a no-brainer. I'm in. We are starting our own Devil's Advocates revolution to free your carpets from harsh chemicals and soaps. Call Zero Res today and ask for the Diamond Crude Special 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
You've been taking the right actions, resisting the GOP's destruction of our state and country. You've marched, written letters, and listened to those busy signals day after day. Countless times you've hashtagged and frowny-faced articles on social media. You're not alone, but it's time to take the next steps. All politics are local. Support, vote, and elect progressive candidates to office with your Democratic Party. Your ideas and energy are what the party is missing. This ad sponsored by the Walworth County Dems, walworthdems.org.
Hey, folks. Sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here. Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
He groped me.
The Devil's Advocates. Radio for nasty women everywhere.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, 1510 a.m. WRRD, streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, on Twitter at Devil Radio, and on the phones 844-967-2789.
Dominic Beverly from Alabama is watching along on the live stream. Hi, Beverly.
Hey, Beverly.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. She says, all this Roy Moore stuff makes me... She's got 4 emojis. She goes from a green face to an angry face.
Mm-hmm.
If he's elected on December 12th, I'll be moving to a blue state, she says. Well, I'd like to recommend Wisconsin, but I'm not so clear that we would qualify as a blue state. Dom, I've heard right-wing hosts, a variety of ways. They somehow, I've heard them call out Roy Moore. I've certainly heard a few villainize Al Franken already today. But what about Trump? How is he somehow exempt? Why is he the Teflon Don? Why are his accusers, and we just saw Sarah Huckabee Sanders at the White House doing a little presser, and she was specifically asked, hey, I hate to ask this, but why is it that Roy Moore's accusers, even according to the president, are somehow credible, but his own accusers are not perceived as credible, not by this man. He is calling them all liars, and you stand there at the very same podium and do the same. And she, of course, has no sufficient answer to that question because they're probably all believable, Be it Moore's accusers, be it Al Franken's accusers, be it Harvey Weinstein's accusers, be it Kevin Spacey's accusers, or be it Donald Trump's accusers. And in fact, we have the words of the Donald Trump accusers in their own words. Let's play this little video / audio collage.
No.
Do we have it? Because I'd like to be able to watch it in real time. Many of these are not.
No, we pulled the sound from it because some of the...
I'm going to pull it up.
Some of the women...
Bear with
there
me,
were
Fancy
not
Brian.
actual words. There were words on the screen. So let's play some of that sound, and then we'll get to the callers, 844-967-2789, maybe like a minute or minute and a half.
He groped me. He absolutely groped
Donald
me.
Trump accusers.
And he just slipped his hand there, touching my private parts.
He turned to me and embraced me and gave me a kiss on the lips. And I remember being shocked, and because I would have just thought to shake somebody's hand, but that was his first response with me.
It was a real shock when all of a sudden his hands were all over me. But it's when he started putting his hand up my skirt. And that was it. That was it.
The person on my right, who unbeknownst to me at that time was Donald Trump, put their hand up my skirt. He did touch my vagina through my underwear.
As the women walked across the table, Donald Trump would look up under their skirt and, comment on whether they had underwear or didn't have underwear. I didn't want to have to walk across the table. I wanted to get out of there. Then
844-967-2789. That was just a sample of some of the accusers' own words against Donald Trump. That is also on our Facebook page. Let's get to some callers before we run out of time. David from Mequon, you are up. Thank you for calling. What are your thoughts today, sir?
Hey, listen, guys. There's a lot of stuff going on here. We got a lot of moving parts. At the end of the day, this is not a Republican or a Democratic issue. This is just about human decency.
Yeah.
And really, if people are asking Roy Moore to step aside, and I do honestly think he should step aside, but I also think if you look now, they just mentioned, I think a couple days ago, that both parties know that they have some individuals that have been accused of sexual assault. In the last decade, I guess the House has paid out almost $15 million in claims. And so, it's an embarrassment to all of us. And the other thing is, I was just going to say, you're right about with Donald Trump. I mean, what's the difference with that? The difference is that, again, it's this whole power thing going on. And I also would point back to even with, I hate to bring him up, even with Bill Clinton, when we had accusers of Bill Clinton. And so, how are those accusers being not vindicated, with his dealings with him from way back when? So, it's a very, we have to, if we're going to really take care of this, it has to be all flushed out, not just, kind of piecemeal it together, to be honest with you.
David, you make excellent points, and I think there are certainly culpable characters here, and I would include Bill Clinton. He has often been canonized. I don't think he's any sort of saint. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates. We got Christine Newman-Ortiz, Executive Director, Voces de la Frontera. Going to talk 287G. More Devil's Advocates. Hour 2 is next.
But especially the women made me feel good.
Scott Walker thinks Wisconsin should once again hire him as governor.
You wouldn't hire me to be a neurosurgeon.
This is a person who has not worked in the private sector since 1993.
You wouldn't hire me to run condos. You wouldn't hire me to run HP.
And has made his political career.
You probably wouldn't hire me to run the United States Senate.
By using divisive tactics to the benefit of his corporate donors.
The first step is we're going to deal with collective bargaining for all public employee unions. Because you divide and conquer.
Now he supports the largest publicly funded government subsidy of a foreign corporation in American history.
They can go suck lemons.
And Scott Walker has yet to live up to his first campaign promise to create 250,000 jobs.
Is this a campaign promise, something you want to be held to?
Absolutely. Scott Walker, we the people are done sucking your lemons. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Hi, I'm Anton Capella. As Chief Technology Officer at Five Nines, it's my job to make sure your network is up 99.999% of the time. Technology is constantly evolving, and keeping your business up to date in an ever-changing environment can be a hassle. At Five Nines, we're here to help. Five Nines is more than just our name. It's the level of service you can expect. Better IT gives your business a competitive advantage. Learn how Five Nines can help at fivenines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
Make sure you tune in to News Talk 1510 a.m. throughout the day for breaking news and up-to-the-minute political commentary. Monday through Friday, start your day with the Earl Ingram Show, 7 to 9 a.m. From 9 to 11, take a deep dive into Milwaukee news and Wisconsin politics on 414 Wisconsin with Brian Kelly and me, Stu Mann, the newsman. From 11 to 2, it's the Tom Hartman program. Then from 2 to 5, join us for the greatest radio show ever, The Devil's Advocates with Dom and Crute. Join the Resistance. News Talk 1510 a.m. Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
You are listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, WRRD, 1510 AM, Waukesha, Milwaukee.
Stealing the seat, violated and disgusted. I'm Michael Toscano.
Well, I want to tell you who needs to step down. That's Mitch McConnell.
Alabama's Republican Senate nominee Roy Moore refusing to budge as accusations from women accusing him of unwanted advances caused his support from national Republicans, at least, to disintegrate. Moore telling a campaign rally a short time ago the women have no evidence and it's all a plot by McConnell.
This is an effort by Mitch McConnell and his cronies to steal this election from the people of Alabama, and they will not stand for it.
Los Angeles radio news anchor Leanne Tweeden says she accepts Democratic Senator Al Franken's apology after she earlier today described an unwanted and forcible kiss from Franken in 2006. They were rehearsing a USO skit that he wrote.
I was violated. I was disgusted. That's not what I was expecting. All I could think about was that's what you wrote that in the script for, so you could do that to me. I was angry. I wanted to punch him in the face.
But it appears there will be a Senate Ethics Committee investigation, even though Franken was not then a senator, as we hear from correspondent M.J. Lee.
Franken himself is now saying that he will cooperate with this investigation and that he thinks it is appropriate. This is the same message that we are hearing from all of Franken's colleagues who have spoken out so far.
Well, it was a party line vote, but House Republicans passed their tax cut plan this afternoon.
There was some room to spare, even as no Democrats voted for the plan. For the Democrats, Nancy Pelosi.
Tell the truth about it. Republicans want you to believe that their trickle-down tax break for the rich will pay for itself.
For Speaker of the House Paul Ryan, tax reform is a dream of many years, possibly coming true.
We have the Senate right now working on doing this. We're excited about going through the legislative process.
Bob Costantini, Capitol Hill.
The corruption trial of New Jersey Democratic Senator Bob Menendez ended this afternoon, a mistrial after the jury declared itself deadlocked. Wall Street just closed major gains, the Dow up almost 200 points. I'm Michael Toscano.
Don't do what I did and run out. If it's working, don't quit. Why would you stop? Why undo all the good that's been accomplished?
You've got to feed them right for life.
Dynavite is nutrition.
If I ever took Roy off of Dynavite...
No.
When I get to about 3/4...
When I get down to the bottom of my box of Dynavite, oh no, I've got a couple more scoops. It's time to place my order. Dynavite.com. DINOVITE.com.
859-428-1000.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a bottle of Super Omega Fish Oil free.
Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Omega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Free this week at Dynavite.com.
Just feed your dog right. Use Dynavite.
Dynavite for life.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
If you're hitting the road for Thanksgiving, expect to have lots of company. Jan Johnson explains why.
AAA suggests low unemployment and greater economic confidence are putting more people in a traveling mood. Nearly 51 million Americans will hit the road or take to the air, an increase of more than 3% over last year. Even though gas prices are about 40 cents a gallon higher than they were last year, the Auto Club says more than 45 million will be in their cars between next Wednesday and the Sunday after Thanksgiving. About 4 million are expected to fly, and that's an increase of about 5%. I'm Jan Johnson.
If you're planning on driving to the relatives in your 2011 or 2015 Chevrolet Silverado and GMC Sierra 3500 truck, pay attention. A problem that could lead to vehicle fires is prompting General Motors to issue a recall on thousands of them with the dual fuel tanks. I'm Michael Toscano.
Don't do what I did and run out. If it's working, don't quit. Why would you stop? Why undo all the good that's been accomplished?
You've got to feed them right for life.
Dynavite is nutrition.
If I ever took Roy off of Dynavite.
No.
When I get to about 3/4.
When I get down to the bottom of my box of Dynavite, oh no, I've got a couple more scoops. It's time to place my order. Dynavite.com. DINOVITE.com.
859-428-1000.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a bottle of Super Mega Fish Oil free.
Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Free this week at Dynavite.com.
Just feed your dog right. Use Dynavite.
Dynavite for life.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINO.
Good afternoon. It is 3:05 for 1510 a.m. WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. My name is Brian Kelly. Here's some headlines for you today. Although the House version of the tax bill has gone forward, they've still got some hang-ups in the Senate. Ron Johnson is the first Republican senator to announce his opposition to the GOP tax overhaul. He'll be a guest with the Devil's Advocates tomorrow in studio. The company that owns the Boston store says they will close 40 stores next year. Also, Wisconsin Attorney General Brad Schimmel was at Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort last weekend. The Wisconsin Senate plans to offer training on sexual harassment policy in the near future. And the Brewers have a new agreement with the city of Phoenix to continue holding their spring training at Maryville Baseball Park for at least another 25 years. Tonight, increasing clouds, lows in the low 30s. Currently, it's 37 degrees in Milwaukee, 35 in Waukesha for 1510 a.m. My name is Brian Kelly.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show, Hour 2. We got a fine guest joining us momentarily. She is Christine Newman-Ortiz. She is with Voces de la Frontera. Dom, before we take her call, let's start. A statement on 287G, Eric Severinsen, and he is the sheriff of Waukesha County. What do you say, Dom?
Several years ago, a nationwide effort began challenging the process used by ICE and sheriffs regarding the detention of illegal aliens. This effort has taken the form of civil rights lawsuits challenging the process used by ICE called detainers. Detainers are requests by ICE asking the local sheriff to help them transfer illegal aliens into their custody from county jails. Such lawsuits in several jurisdictions have been successful. I have determined, after consultation with legal counsel, that the best way to honor my responsibility to cooperate with ICE and protect the public, while at the same time honoring my oath to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution, is through participation in the 287G program. I've applied for but have not yet been accepted into the program. Our requested model is narrowly focused on jail custody of illegal aliens. This program provides explicit and unambiguous federal authority to do our job. My request does not create a local immigration force within the community seeking to deport non-criminals. The model does not contemplate engaging in sweeps or roundups looking for non-criminal illegal aliens. Again, our participation request is specifically for a jail model that allows us to work more effectively with ICE and honor all detainers with lawful federal authority.
Now, Severinson goes on to say the operational impact of 287G is minimal, but we'd like to ask our guest. She is Christine Newman-Ortiz, Voces de la Frontera. She joins us now live via phone. Christine, welcome back. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, especially in light of the recent announcement of the that 287G will not be coming to Milwaukee County, but obviously as part of this whole year has been about a very, very important victory. But as you were mentioning just now, the fight continues because 287G should not take hold in any part of Wisconsin or this country, and we're going to continue to fight to make sure it's not does not take root in Waukesha.
Well, you win some, you lose some, sort of a mixed result. Milwaukee County will not go forward. ICE apparently did not accept Milwaukee County. But as you mentioned, Waukesha County apparently is planning on proceeding with 287G. Now, the sheriff describes this as a minimal impact. What's your opinion? Is this a big deal or a little deal, Christine?
It's a big deal. They're totally manipulating trying to manipulate the public by saying that. It's the same answer that they've tried to sell at the state level with a bill, the AB 190, SB 275 that we've also been fighting that essentially does the same thing as 287G. The impact is serious because they like to throw in some adjective theirs around the detainers, but this is a serious program. It fundamentally changes the mission of local law enforcement from public safety to their primary role, inquiry about someone's immigration status and putting them in deportation proceedings. And it is a patent lie to say that only someone who has been convicted of some serious crime is the people they're targeting. Under Trump, all those enforcement priorities have been removed. So anyone that ends up in the county jail, which can be for minor traffic infractions like driving without a license, innocent of a charge, will be the ICE detainer. Just means it's something that basically it's a voluntary thing. Because, hey, I think this person could be undocumented. Hold them for me. And what many local jurisdictions in the past did is, and this is under Obama, said, you know what, we're not just going to hand people over and break up families, and because of the pressure that was built, that's how we finally nationalized enforcement standards that said only with a judge's warrant, where you have had your due process rights, something of a serious nature, would that information or that individual be held or shared. Now it's anyone is vulnerable, and we know that with the stripping of the protections for Dreamers, of TPS, of refugees, that this is it's part of the discriminatory Trump deportation machine, and young people, fathers, mothers, no criminal record, all of that is up for grabs, and so it totally undermined this. This is a discredited program. It has been shown by the courts to create a clear pattern and practice of discrimination against Latinos, and people are really very, very, very deeply concerned in the community of Waukesha what this means. I mean, we didn't have 50,000 people march in February and 30,000 march in May here in Milwaukee, when we had more time to know 287G was coming because Sheriff Clark declared it, because this is a program that has little impact. This is a very dangerous program. It's like buying a gun, pointing it at someone, and saying, hey, don't worry, I'm not going to pull the trigger. That's what it's like, and people recognize this as a very serious threat, and it's about hate, and we don't believe there should be these kind of hateful programs or policies that persecute and terrorize the community should be implemented.
Folks, you're listening to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Got a fine guest, Christine Newman-Ortiz, Executive Director, Voces de la Frontera. She's a friend of ours, and Christine is pointing out that 287G, while apparently defeated in Milwaukee County, has the support of the federal government to move forward in Waukesha County. And Christine, I think you started touching on this, but let's talk more about the immigrant community. You talk about the fact, they feel like they have a gun pointed at them. Does this change conduct? Does this change people's thought process? Will we see immigrants moving out of Waukesha? Will we see people fearful to go to work in the Waukesha area because they might get pulled over for a taillight or some other minor offense?
Yes, to all of the above. What we have done, obviously inform the community. That's one of the functions of VOCES, is to inform people as to threats such as this, but also to make sure that they're getting good information. So our message to the community has been to not get alarmed, that it is true, to confirm the fact that this very bad program was approved, and that but that doesn't mean that it's been implemented yet. It's still like a 4-week period when the Trump administration will send a letter to Sheriff Severson. He then has to sign. It's a contract. By the way, this is an unfunded contract because they pay for some training, but the function of the time that they spent doing these immigration, questioning people on immigration or holding them is by the federal government. And then there would be a training period. And again, he is being absolutely misleading the public and misleading, especially the immigrant community, when he says that people shouldn't worry. The fact is we need back in the kind of standards around enforcement priority that were won back in November 2014. Right now, anybody, innocent, minor infraction, you are vulnerable to deportation. And what's been happening under the Trump administration has been that they have been expediting those deportations. They are trying to very aggressively deny people their due process rights, to know about their rights, to sign away their rights, and they're doing that in the jails. And that's exactly what this program is about. It's about taking advantage of often people who have been in the community for a long time and don't know their rights, and moving them quickly into deportation. And that's the reality. That is what's happening right now nationally and here in Wisconsin.
Christine, I did reach out, today to the Waukesha County Sheriff's Department. I spoke to the PIO, Jennifer Walschlager. She declined to put the sheriff on our show today. Have you reached out to the sheriff's office? Have you lobbied your position with the sheriff? And if so, what was the reaction?
We put in the request through Anselmo Villarreal, who's the executive director of Casa de Esperanza. Should be kind of like the equivalent of UCC here in Milwaukee. Very well-respected institution. It's a focal point for the Latino community there. Provides very critical services. There's a school there. So it's really like a center point for the Latino community. And that is actually where we've been meeting with the Waukesha community most recently. And he is... we've asked him to set up a coalition meeting with Sheriff Severson. And then a little while ago, we had a meeting in Waukesha that was called as soon as we found out that this application hadn't gone in, which, by the way, if people don't know, Sheriff Severson had given public testimony in front of government bodies and publicly said that he didn't want 287G, that this program undermined public safety. And it was only a few days prior to knowing it was only with a very short notice that we actually found out that he had applied for it.
In the press release
Clark, who we knew had applied for it.
The press release that was provided to me by the PIO at Waukesha County Sheriff said that while his statements regarding 287G, he was against the task force model and not the jail model. But I want to ask you one quick question before we run out of time, Christine. We certainly appreciate you coming on. Daniel Bites reporting former County Sheriff David A. Clark, well, taxpayers spent $450,000 on security for him at his house in recent years. Christine, just wanted to get your reaction.
I mean, we did submit all our comments and asked others as the Coalition for People Sheriff to say why shouldn't come to Milwaukee County. Obviously, people have spoken in many, many different ways. But yeah, I mean, there's a huge debt that has been left, and there's been a lot of cuts to that program. 287G only takes away more resources from, what we actually need to be focused on, which is community safety. So, yes, something. We don't need another Clark. We just got rid of Clark. If Sheriff Severson is going to take that posture, we need a new sheriff.
Christine Newman-Ortiz, Executive Director, Voces de la Frontera, friend of ours. Christine, thank you for your time as always.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You. Folks, we are the Devil's Advocates. Phone lines always open here, toll free for you, 844-967-2789. We're going to get this hour fired up right now. Don, what's next?
But there's so much. Where do you want to go?
Oh, man, more Clark bashing?
we should get into Bice's piece just a little bit.
You know, the Journal-Sentinel apparently has been driving by to see if there are still guards watching Sheriff Clark's house. And apparently there are still Milwaukee County sheriffs.
Well, volunteering on their own time.
That drive down the end of the dead-end street. And when notified, Fran McLaughlin, the former spokesperson, joked, well, you must have a lot of time on your hands.
Yeah.
Didn't you see the no trespassing signs? Folks, we're the Devil's Advocates. Come back with us.
What a waste of resources.
As I mentioned, phone lines open. Don't waste your resources. It's toll free, 844-967-2789.
We are people of compassion.
I wish you weren't a liar.
Give me a break.
Hi, this is Brad Saug, owner of Zero Res Madison Carpet Cleaning. Zero Res is the best new technology in carpet cleaning. We have a patented process using empowered water, a high-tech process in which we force the water to act like soap. It doesn't want to stay in that state. It's jacked up and it's angry and it wants to hit the dirt and then it neutralizes. When we're done, all that's left in your carpet is just light moisture. In the end, you get the cleanest, greenest, healthiest carpet cleaning available. Call us at 848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it backward or forward. It's the right way to clean.
Have you outgrown your house? Are you sick of apartment living? Not ready to buy but know you need to move? Hi folks, this is Tom Hartman for CCL Management in Middleton. You should consider moving up to one of the finer rental homes CCL Management represents. Unique houses and condos, always clean, most are pet friendly. Visit cclmanagement.com today to find your new home. CCL Management, Dane County's premier leasing and property management company.
Call CCL Management at 833-0009. That's 833-0009 or visit cclmanagement.com today.
What do current WRRD sponsors, guys like Lenny Mattioli, Crazy TV Lenny, now Crazy E-Bike Lenny, have to say about advertising with Wisconsin's only Resistance Radio? WRRD 1510 AM, would you call us a great radio advertising source or the greatest radio advertising source ever, sir?
Okay, first of all, my emotional answer, the greatest.
Yes.
Now a realistic businessman answer, okay? I would say equal to or better than any talk show style radio station that I've ever advertised on. The return on invested advertising dollar is as good on your station as I've ever seen. Right now, it's the best.
Be like Lenny. Advertise with News Talk 1510 AM. Call me, 414-635-0872, or email me, crute@newstalk1510am.com.
We've got Jesse Pica-Holtz in studio with Solidarity Realty. Jesse, why on earth are you advertising in the Milwaukee area when you help buy and sell homes in Dane County?
Simple. Since Walker's policies have taken hold 7 years ago, most new job growth in Wisconsin has happened here in Dane County because of its progressive policies. And plenty of folks who commute to or from Madison already know that many rentals here are more expensive than a fixed mortgage.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Dane County, call Solidarity Realty or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
When you need an attorney, trust the voice of experience. The only choice, Lawton and Cates.
My wife and I were traveling through the Rocky Mountains on our Harley, and we stopped to fuel up, and we were making our way out of town when, bam, a Jeep Cherokee turned right into us. We went flying. Our Colorado Rocky Mountain vacation was over.
They made it back to Wisconsin, and their injuries healed, but they had expenses that they acquired because of the accident. The experienced attorneys at Lawton & Cates negotiated with the insurance adjuster and recovered a fair financial settlement. If your life is disrupted by an injury or other legal dispute, Lawton & Cates can help you achieve a successful result. Trust the voice of experience. Call the attorneys at Lawton & Cates, 282-6200. 282-6200.
When you need an attorney, trust the voice of experience. The only choice, Lawton and Cates.
I'm probably okay to have one more drink before I drive home. I'm probably okay. I open the window to stay alert. Probably okay. I just popped some gum in my mouth.
Step out of the car, please.
I probably made a mistake.
Probably okay isn't okay when it comes to drinking and driving. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I don't know if you know the Devil's Advocates, but they are kind of a big deal.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. You can join us at any time at the phone line, 844-967-2789.
Dominic would like to thank our mutual friend, Christine Newman Ortiz Voces de la Frontera. And I know you and Christine have such a mutual respect for Sheriff David A. Clark Jr., the former Milwaukee County Sheriff. I bet you both get Christmas cards from the former sheriff this year.
Us on the horse we rode in on. As we mentioned before the break, Daniel Bice lighting up Sheriff Clark. Let's get into a little bit of that piece. I'll take a couple of minutes here. Total cost to taxpayers for providing round-the-clock security for Clark's house in recent years came to nearly $450,000.
Well, Dom, they had his house staked out for 70 weeks.
You serious, Clark?
70 weeks. There was around-the-clock guards outside the Clark's house.
So we as taxpayers are subsidizing his ability to go out and use his free speech while representing the good, fine people of Milwaukee County being an ass around the country, talking about choking out Democrats while he, of course, ran as a Democrat.
Well, let's not forget he did go out on the stump quite frequently for Donald J. Trump, Dom. That makes him something of a target. You know,
well, first of all, there is no police brutality in America. We ended that back in the 60s.
Yeah, don't forget. Let's see here.
You know how much the day job paid? Do you see it there in the article? $132,000 a year. So, Milwaukee County paid more in labor for sheriff's deputies to guard the county sheriff's house than he actually earned in wage. You know, from the day job. Not talking about the sidelights,
which was
doing speeches in Fox News gigs.
Which was about the same amount of money. Clark's successor, we have him on the show, Acting Sheriff Richard Schmidt, explained the type of security was provided because threats against Clark, the flame-throwing ally of President Donald Trump, who was the county's top lawman for 15 years until his resignation without a 2-week notice in August.
I'm quitting at midnight.
City records show Clark, who worked for the police department in the sheriff's office for a total of 38 years, is receiving monthly retirement checks of $5,700 or about just over $68,000 a year from the city's pension system. That number will rise over time because former cops get cost of living increases.
Hey, Dom, did you see Sheriff David A. Clark Jr. filling in for Dan O'Donnell on WISN the other day?
No, I did not.
I tell you what, I'm going to take a couple days off. You call up your buddy Clark.
Yeah.
And you see if you'll fill in for this fine progressive.
Yes, absolutely. Former County Sheriff David Clark, you're welcome to come on anytime. Love to light your ass up.
He's not welcome here.
Oh, he can call in then.
And as a former sheriff, kiss my ass. More Devil's Advocates when we come back. 844-967-2789. If you're listening, Sheriff Clark, phone lines open to you. You'll go to the top of the list. We are the Devil's Advocates on WRRD, Wisconsin's only resistance radio. I'm going to throw him on the list of people I am resistant to.
It is pitchfork and torches time in America.
Clark, that's the gift that keeps on giving the whole year.
Hi, I'm Crudy. I'm here with my friend Tom Alonzi, Principal Officer with Teamsters Local 200. Tom, why are you union strong, Teamster strong?
Well, because, Crudy, the Teamsters are the most powerful labor union in North America with 1.4 million members standing together for better wages, benefits, and working conditions at their respective places of work.
Tom, what are the unions going to do for the next generation?
The same things we the Teamsters have done for the generations before them, Crudy. Give them respect, dignity, and representation with a legal binding contract with their employer, not just the empty promises of an ever-changing employee handbook.
Tom, if people want to know more about the unions or joining the Teamsters, what do they do?
Well, Crudy, they can simply call Teamsters Local 200 at 414-771-6363 and say, I'd like to know more about becoming a Teamster. Or they can go to our website at teamsterslocal200.com.
Be union strong. Stand with Teamsters Local 200, like News Talk 1510 AM and your friend Crudy.
This is the People's Sheriff. I need you to keep listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, WRRD, 1510 AM, Waukesha, Milwaukee. Can I count on you?
Wisconsin's doing terribly. The roads are a disaster because they don't have any money to rebuild them. They're borrowing money like crazy. They projected a $1 billion surplus, and it turns out to be a deficit of $2.2 billion. The schools are a disaster. The hospitals and education is a disaster. And when I see Scott Walker with his little motorcycle and he puts his helmet on and he gets off and he makes a speech, but he's always riding like he gets off a bike like he's a big tough guy, okay, or a little tough guy. Their lobbyists, their special interests, and their donors will start calling. They gave you $1 million to your campaign, and this one gave you $5 million, and this one, you have to do it. You know what he's going to say? Okay, I'll do it.
Mr. Trump, you're using the talking points of the Democrats, and as we all know, that
I'm using
failed
facts.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Did you ever eat a perfect peach? Flavorful and succulent, juice dripping from your mouth. That's what you can expect every time you shop at Pete's Fruit Market. A perfect peach or any other fresh produce to satisfy your taste buds. Try Pete's brand new, clean, bottled, full-service grocery store on Martin Luther King and North Avenue. Daily specials, organic fruits and vegetables, and always a perfect peach. Go to Pete's Fruit Market in Bronzeville. Tell them the Devil's Advocates sent you.
Grass-fed, locally raised.
Tom Perez, chairman of the Democratic National Committee.
Hey, great to be with you. And since I spoke last, I went to my first game at Camp Randall. So
all right.
I was very excited.
Well, I feel quite confident that was a victory as my team's undefeated, Tom.
Hey, I agree. Our team, you should say. My daughter is there at Madison.
Oh, that's right.
It was a great day.
Happy
Great
Badgers.
Day.
The Devil's Advocates, weekday afternoons on 1510 AM, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Good afternoon. It is 3:32 for 1510 AM WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. My name is Brian Kelly. Here are some opportunities to get involved in your community and to possibly #resist. Tonight, Stop the Mine speaking tour at Alverno College from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Physician Dennis Vickers will come to Alverno College and speak about the dangers of sulfide mining. This is from 6 to 7:30 p.m. at Alverno College tonight. Friday, tomorrow at the River West Public House Co-op at 815 East Locust, Civil Liberties on Tap will have Gill versus Whitford oral arguments listening party from 6 to 8 p.m. And then this Saturday, our very own Earl Ingram will be broadcasting live from Educators Amplified from 12 to 3 p.m. at the Cactus Club in Bayview, 2496 South Wentworth. It is currently 37 degrees in Milwaukee and 35 in Waukesha for 1510 a.m. My name is Brian Kelly.
The Devil's Advocates, tackling the issues you're not allowed to talk about at the dinner table.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Dominic, there are some issues they don't like to talk about at the state capitol either. But I got to think, with all these recent accusations, sexual harassment, even Wisconsinites, even Wisconsin lawmakers, I mean, you got to think there's a few gropers in the midst, right, Don?
Well, there have certainly historically been gropers in the midst. So, statistically speaking, I'll take that action.
You mean the recently disgraced Assembly Majority Leader Bill Kramer? Is that the one you referenced, Don?
That is exactly the one I referenced, Michael.
Let's get into this Jesse Apoyan piece. Our friend from the Cap Times. Wisconsin Senate Assembly aim to offer new sexual harassment training in the near future.
We promise sometime in the future this will be important enough for us to address.
These are promising promises they make, Don.
Yeah.
Let's jump into the piece. Both chambers of the Wisconsin legislature are looking into adding new training for lawmakers and employees on policies to prevent and protect against sexual harassment in the near future. No training on the Senate policy is currently offered, but that may soon change, said Senate Chief Clerk Jeff Renk. In addition, the Assembly Republican leadership team has begun discussions about developing additional training on this issue in light of what has been happening at the national level, said Kit Beyer, spokeswoman for Assembly Speaker Robin Vos. Now, when I last saw the Assembly Speaker, Dom, he introduced me to his new wife, Michelle Litchkins, or the former Michelle Litchkins, perhaps Michelle Vos. Now, I'm not sure if she kept her former name. But I was aware of Michelle Litchkins, not just from her work on Charlie Sykes' media show, but also for her work in the Wisconsin State Capitol as a former Assembly Republican, Dom. And while Robin Vos, at least when he's going to punch you in the face, he does it to your face. Robin Vos, did he cross some line when he started?
And her were dating while he was speaker, and she was a
subordinate.
Are you a subordinate in that scenario? I mean, you're an elected representative of your people. I mean, there is certainly a leadership position, but would you consider that a subordinate position? I mean, he can't fire her.
No, but he can decide whether or not her bills move forward, whether they get to committee, whether they hit the floor, whether she is a successful lawmaker. Yeah, the Speaker of the Assembly, he's got some power. And I'm not saying there's anything untoward. They've obviously fallen in love and gotten married and, honeymooned recently in Ireland.
She's no longer in the Assembly.
She seems quite gracious. She's left her position in the Assembly, but my understanding when they got together, Dom, she was his subordinate in the Assembly. I wonder if they'll cover that circumstance in their training.
What are the rules on dating fellow legislators?
Not clear. Is there a rule? They'll have to make it.
Well, they should make
Perhaps
a rule.
They'll call it the Robin and Michelle rule. I've noted the good Speaker of the Assembly now has a picture of Michelle. If you sit right next to him, keeps it right in eye shot. In the periphery. She's always there. Always on his mind.
A good husband.
Was that wrong? Should I not have done that?
Lovely couple. More than a dozen state legislatures throughout the country have been accused of sexual harassment and assault as rapidly growing number of women and men come forward with stories of improper behavior. The floodgates burst open with the New York Times report on decades worth of allegations against Hollywood executive Harvey Weinstein, followed by the Me Too hashtag social media movement, and a list of allegations against, across industries and party lines that grows every day. Now, Dom, two female lawmakers shared stories on Tuesday during a U.S. House Administration Committee hearing of current members of the Congress who have engaged in sexual harassment but did not name them. More than 1,500 current and former congressional staffers have signed a letter urging mandatory training after decades of pervasive misconduct. And a bipartisan group of lawmakers is working towards implementing that requirement. Now, David from Mequon called before. The headlines very recently, I don't think we got to this one, but $15 million paid out in sexual harassment suits by what, the House of Representatives?
I'm not sure if it was the House or Congress in its entirety, but that was the first time I've heard that number. And then I also wonder, well, what are the consequences? What was the punishment? What was the redress? Well, perhaps those who were abused got paid.
They got paid, and they had to sign a confidentiality. But then I'm sure the lawmaker claimed and took no responsibility or culpability.
Right.
And lots of non-disclosures, I suspect.
And then what motivation is there for the person doing the assault or abuse or whatever, however it would be described? What is going to make them change their behavior? I mean, it's not number one. It's not
getting caught,
but it's not coming out of their pocket. So they got caught. Obviously, they got caught. They paid out $15 million.
Bill O'Reilly got caught numerous times, Tom. In fact, Fox News helped him pay, what, $32 million, the last settlement, and then they signed him to a $25 million new contract? Yeah, you're right. There's very few consequences for the perpetrators often, and I suspect in some small part that's why they continue to perpetrate.
Well, that's why there should be some consequence. Barbara Comstock and Jackie Spire were the two female lawmakers, I believe, that were testifying. We do have some sound of them, so let's start with Barbara Comstock, a Republican, I believe, from Virginia. Cut number 80, please, Brian.
This member asked a staffer to bring them over some materials to their residence, and the young staffer, as a young woman, went there and was greeted with a member in a towel. It was a male, who then invited her in. At that point, he decided to expose himself. She left, and then she quit her job.
Let's keep going on, Brian.
What are we doing here for women right now who are dealing with somebody like that? We get people into the criminal system when you have a crime. I would argue that probably is a crime in that situation. Whether it's Bill Cosby, Harvey Weinstein, Bill O'Reilly, Mark Halperin, Roger Ailes, Kevin Spacey, or one of our own, it's time to say no more.
And then that was Barbara Comstock, Republican from Virginia. Here's Jackie Spire, a Democrat from California. I think our caller, as you mentioned it earlier, Crudy, it goes across political lines. Let's keep going with Jackie Spire.
In fact, there are two members of Congress, Republican and Democrat, right now, who have been subject to review or not have been subject to review, but have engaged in sexual harassment. These harasser propositions, such as, are you going to be a good girl, to perpetrators exposing their genitals, to victims having their private parts grabbed on the House floor. All they ask in return as staff members is to be able to work in a hostile-free work environment. They want the system fixed and the perpetrators held accountable. For the few survivors who secure a settlement, there is no disclosure of the office involved or the amount of funds. Taxpayers foot the bill, and the harasser goes on with his or her life. There is zero accountability and zero transparency.
That's Jackie Spire, Democrat from California, in her testimony. Now, getting back to the Jesse Apollyon piece, that's why we got to that little audio. She continues. Pardon. No Wisconsin lawmakers have been publicly accused of sexual misconduct in the context of the current spate of allegations.
This week.
Former Assembly Majority Leader Bill Kramer, Crudy, a Republican from Waukesha, where the antennas for this fine station are located, was sentenced to 5 months in jail in 2014 on charges he groped and pushed a political aide outside a Republican event in 2011. He was stripped of his leadership position after he was accused of that incident and of harassing two women during a Republican event in Washington, D.C. in 2014 and did not seek re-election. Rank and Assembly Chief Clerk Patrick Fuller both provided copies of the Chamber's policies on harassment upon request. Here's a quote from Byer. The Assembly and state policies on sexual harassment and discrimination are reviewed with every new employee at the beginning of their employment, and the policy manual is distributed to them at that time. Now, in addition to each chamber's individual policy matter, Beyer said the Legislative Council delivers anti-discrimination and anti-harassment training to new lawmakers at the start of their terms. The training was last held on December 6th and 7th in 2016. The presentation describes types of discrimination and harassment and offers best practices for legislators. It notes, for example, that harassment can occur anywhere an employee interacts with coworkers, including on social media or at a bar, and explains that harassers can be anyone an employee interacts with on the job, including lobbyists and other legislators. The presentation also instructs lawmakers on how to follow up on a complaint from an employee.
Folks, you're listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show right here on 1510 AM. Jessie Apoyan, this fine authoress. Is there a gender term? She's just a reporter. She's a friend of ours. Friend also does not have gender, right?
That's right. Quickly, the handle specifically defines sexual harassment as unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, and verbal or physical conduct of a sexual nature that meets the broader definition for harassment. Unwelcome is defined as uninvited, unsolicited, and undesirable or offensive behavior. The pamphlet lists 2 categories of sexual harassment: quid pro quo, for example, changing work standards after a subordinate refuses repeated requests for a date, and behavior that results in a hostile work environment, such as making gestures or staring. The pamphlet notes several important facts, including that offenders do not have to be employees and that harassment often occurs when there is a disparity of power. Yeah, no doubt. The pamphlet offers suggestions for how management can respond to concerns, including providing training and offering multiple avenues for an employee to make a complaint.
Dominic, I tell you what, you bring this little segment to a happy ending and you'll get a raise. Folks, we are the Devil's Advocates.
What
we'll
kind
be
of
right
raise?
back.
That's terrible. That's the problem.
844-967-2789.
Well, don't you come back no more. What you said? Don't you come back no more. I didn't understand. Don't you come back no more. You can't mean that. Don't you come back no more. Oh, now, baby, please. Don't you come back no more. What you trying to do to me?
Transgender troops in our bathroom.
Man, I don't know what the you just said, little kid, but you special, man. You reached out and you touched it by the heart.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
I was on Zero Res Madison's Facebook page the other day, and they have almost 2,000 testimonials from local customers. Apparently, I'm not the only one stoked on how cool this company is. A green technology that actually works better and doesn't cost more. It's a no-brainer. I'm in. We are starting our own Devil's Advocates revolution to free your carpets from harsh chemicals and soaps. Call Zero Res today and ask for the Dom and Crute special 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean.
Hi, I'm Anton Capella, Chief Technology Officer at Five Nines. Five Nines is more than just our name. It's the level of service you can expect. We provide 99.999% uptime. That's the highest availability performance you can get. You have enough to worry about with your business data, web, security, and cloud services, so we'll manage your IT so you don't have to. Visit 5nines.com. That's the number 5nines.com.
Me, a cat moving in with a new human. It took a little getting used to. She has these weird games she likes to play, like this giant feather. She sticks it in my face. I swat it away. She sticks it in my face. I swat it away. It's almost like she thinks I enjoy it. But seeing how much fun she gets out of it, well, I guess it makes it all worth it. Humans.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call a number on the for sale sign?
Great question. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you the home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner to buy that house at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust.
Like you?
Like me. I will find the home that best fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from the offer through closing day. And the best part is that the buyer doesn't have to pay a dime for me to represent them.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty 608-284-9311 or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
I'm more resourceful than I thought.
My suit can still make an impression.
My video games are still game changers.
And my lamp can bring others a bright future.
Because when I donate my stuff to Goodwill,
it helps fund job placement and training for people right in my community.
Now my stuff gets a second chance.
And will give someone in my community
a second chance too.
Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. That's goodwill.org. This message brought to you by Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's your lovable furry host, Brian Kelly. We have a new show, 414 Wisconsin, weekdays 9 to 11, right after the Earl Ingram Show. Join me and Stu Man the Newsman as we talk about Milwaukee news, Wisconsin politics with great guests. We are going to have a fun time. 414 Wisconsin, weekday mornings 9 to 11 on News Talk 1510 AM, WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
The Devil's Advocates, making radio great again.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, 1510 AM, WRRD, streaming live on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter at Devil Radio, and on the phones, 844-967-2789.
Dom, we got a good friend joining us on Brady Street in a short period of time. Joe Zepecki, a Dem strategist. You know, summer, they're itching, man. They need their Walker bashing fix, their wanker bashing. I guarantee if you stick around to the 4 o'clock hour, man, I will wanker bash till the cows come home in the 4 o'clock hour.
You do, Crudy. I got to tell you, man, you do wanker bash with the best of them.
I do. That's not the same as a happy ending, though. New York Times, Megan Tohey, Trump's female accusers feel forgotten. A lawsuit may change that. This published November 1st. I've heard so many righties defending Donald Trump somehow in face of allegations against Roy Moore and the Harvey Weinstein, very selective. They believe this accuser, but none of Trump's. They believe that accuser, but none of Trump's. This piece, let me jump into it. While allegations of sexual misconduct against powerful men in recent weeks have drawn wide public support and prompted quick response, women who came forward during the presidential race with accusations against Donald J. Trump said they've spent the past year feeling dismissed and forgotten. Now, righties, including Dan Connery, whatever the little Irishman's name is in Madison, he's hammered. Somehow he defends. I heard a lefty call, and I have now been banned from that show.
Well, you used to call on the road on the way
I
here.
did. I'd troll him sometimes. I've been told I've been banned from the show. Apparently, my alter ego, Mike on a car phone's been discovered.
So
the former powers that be over at iHeart, they banned me.
Yeah, the iHeart corporate has banned you, Crudy. Well, it's about time, man.
Well, someone needs to straighten that young man out. He defends Donald Trump in this way. He said all the women, all the accusers, well, they've gone back to whatever rocks they came out from under. They've crawled back, no seriousness, no credibility to any of their accusations.
The Donald Trump accusers.
Yes, according to
in his
little
yeah.
Irish guy, Connery, whatever his name is. And above and beyond that, damn it, what was the point? Oh,
they're still out there.
Here's the point. Here's the point. This one stuck in my craw, especially. Donald Trump's accusers, well, they're all lying. And he can still rationalize that because Trump's confession, the Access Hollywood tape, Dom? He said that they let him do it.
They let you do it.
And since they let him do it because he's a celebrity, a star.
He can do anything.
He can do anything, right? But they let him. So there's no culpability. He's not a sexual assaulter. They let him do it. That little split infinitive is somehow how he rationalizes why the actions of Donald Trump are somehow
those are
different.
The actions, those are the words that came out of Donald Trump's mouth on a recorded mic. Those are not what these 16 accusers are saying. They didn't let him. He just did it.
I'm going to quote Temple Taggart. She claimed Donald Trump kissed her on the mouth when she was competing in his Miss USA pageant in 1997. With Trump, it was all brushed under the rug. But that could change if a defamation lawsuit brought by a woman who accused Donald Trump of unwanted sexual advances is allowed to proceed in New York State Supreme Court, a legal ruling that could come before the end of the year. Lawyers in the suit sought a subpoena seeking all Trump campaign records related to his female accusers. If the case advances, the accusers could be deposed, going up against Mr. Trump yet again. The plaintiff in the lawsuit, Summer Zervos, a former contestant on Trump's The Apprentice, is represented by the law firm of Gloria Allred, who has helped bring cases against Bill Cosby and other high-profile defendants. They claim that Mr. Trump defamed Ms. Zervos during the campaign when he repeatedly described her and other accusers' accounts as lies and nonsense, and said the women either were being put forward by his opponent Hillary Clinton's campaign or were motivated to come forward by getting 10 minutes of fame, according to the complaint. Mr. Trump has sought to dismiss or stay the case, claiming that a sitting president cannot be sued in state court and that his comments amount to political speech, arguments that were reaffirmed by his legal team in a brief filed on Tuesday. This around the end of October, that Tuesday. But lawyers for Ms. Zervos point to the United States Supreme Court. This one's going to bite some conservative asses, Dom. Perhaps a name from their memory banks. The United States Supreme Court ruling that allowed Paula Jones to bring a sexual harassment suit against President Bill Clinton while he was in office, and several law professors have filed briefs supporting the legal grounds for such a suit. Among those who said they would embrace the opportunity to provide a deposition in the case is Jessica Leeds, who has accused Mr. Trump of grabbing her breast and tried to put his hand up her skirt during a plane ride several decades ago. I would do it. I'm not afraid, Miss Leeds said. When she spoke out last year, Mr. Trump denied her allegation and insinuated that Miss Leeds was not attractive enough for that to have happened. Believe me, he said, she would not be my first choice.
What if she's your only choice, Trump? Would you do it then?
What, grope her? Yeah. Sexually assault her?
Yes. She's the only one around. She was the only one on the plane next to him. Who else you going to grope except the one next to you? You got your seatbelt on. Can't do it across the aisle.
There is nobody that respects women more than I do.
Asked about the subpoena stemming from the lawsuit at a news conference last month, Mr. Trump said, "It was totally fake news. It's made up stuff and it's disgraceful what happens," he said, but that happens in the world of politics. Now, all these accusations stem from before his entry into the world of politics, I might note, Dom. During the campaign, more than 10 women made allegations against Trump, ranging from unwanted touching to sexual assault. Most of them spoke out after the release of an Access Hollywood tape that captured him bragging about kissing women and grabbing their private parts without invitation. Mr. Trump insisted that he has never engaged in the behavior he described. He confessed to, "Oh, yeah, but that wasn't me."
Yeah, he was just, talking big.
That he described and dismissed his own comments as locker room talk when woman after woman went public with accusations. He denied everyone, Dom. So, we'll see. This could get interesting. Perhaps the right will not be able to ignore the allegations against their president. Hashtag not my president. But this serial groper, this sexual assaulter, has basically escaped any sort of consequence for his prior actions, Dom. But in light of all these stories, how can the Republicans say, "Roy Moore, you must go"? But Donald Trump, we've merged agendas. We've married this guy. He's the leader of our party now.
And Al Franken, you must go, but Donald Trump, you can stay. Roy Moore, you must go, but Donald Trump, you can stay.
Very consistent, these Republicans. Folks, we are the Devil's Advocates. We are consistently the best damn radio show ever.
You know
come back. The 4 o'clock happy hour is getting started right now. Dem strategist Joe Zepecki, he better have cold ones. He joins us live on Brady Street. The happy 4 o'clock half hour / hour starts right now. More Devil's Advocates on the other side.
There is nobody that respects women more than I do.
He groped me.
I moved on her like a bitch.
He groped me.
On many sides. On many sides.
He groped me.
Yes, the Donald is good. Wisconsin's doing terribly. The roads are a disaster because they don't have any money to rebuild them. They're borrowing money like crazy. They projected a $1 billion surplus, and it turns out to be a deficit of $2.2 billion. The schools are a disaster. The hospitals and education is a disaster. And when I see Scott Walker with his little motorcycle and puts his helmet on and he gets off and he makes a speech, but he's always riding like, he gets off a bike like he's a big tough guy, okay, or a little tough guy. Their lobbyists, their special interests, and their donors will start calling. They gave you $1 million to your campaign, and this one gave you $5 million, and this one, you have to do it. You know what he's going to say? Okay, I'll do it.
Mr. Trump, you're using the talking points of the Democrats, and as we all know, that
I'm using facts.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Going through divorce is a very emotional time in someone's life, and when I went through my first divorce, I really needed someone to help me through the legal aspects of what my rights were. That's why I got in contact with Lawton & Cates.
The attorneys at Lawton & Cates. It's who you turn to for legal advice. 282-6200 or lawtoncates.com.
When you need an attorney, trust the voice of experience. The only choice, Lawton & Cates.
Make sure you tune in to News Talk 1510 a.m. throughout the day for breaking news and up-to-the-minute political commentary. Monday through Friday, start your day with the Earl Ingram Show, 7 to 9 a.m. From 9 to 11, take a deep dive into Milwaukee news and Wisconsin politics on 414 Wisconsin with Brian Kelly and me, Stu Mann, the newsman. From 11 to 2, it's the Tom Hartman program. Then from 2 to 5, join us for the greatest radio show ever, The Devil's Advocates with Dom and Crute. Join the Resistance. News Talk 1510 a.m. Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
You are listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, WRRD, 1510 AM, Waukesha, Milwaukee.
Long road ahead. Fish lips. I'm Michael Toscano. 13 Republicans voted no and no Democrats voted yes, but House Republicans passed their tax cut plan this afternoon. A jubilant House Speaker Paul Ryan noting there's much work to be done, however.
We've got a long road ahead of us, and we have a timeline to get this done by the end of the year. We have the Senate right now working on doing this.
And in the Senate,
I am concerned.
That's Maine's Susan Collins, not happy that cutting Obamacare's individual mandate to pay for tax cuts has been added to the Senate bill.
If we start getting into health care issues with the individual mandate, that we send a very mixed message.
Wisconsin Republican Ron Johnson says he's a no vote right now. Democratic Senator Al Franken now facing a Senate Ethics Committee investigation after KABC Los Angeles radio news anchor Leanne Tweeden said he forcibly grabbed and kissed her back in 2006 as they rehearsed a USO tour comedy skit.
And he aggressively comes in and he mashes his mouth up against mine and he sticks his tongue in my mouth. And his mouth is just wet and slimy, and to this day I call him fish lips.
Franken has effusively apologized. Tweeden says she accepts the apology and is not calling for him to resign. The judge in the federal corruption trial of New Jersey Democratic Senator Bob Menendez has declared a mistrial after the jury once again said it was deadlocked, and defined Menendez taking the lack of a verdict as vindication.
To those who were digging my political grave so that they could jump into my seat, I know who you are, and I won't forget you.
Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell calling for a Senate Ethics Committee probe which could result in expulsion for Menendez. The bulls charging today on Wall Street. Investors happy the tax cut plan passed its first step. Trading was up sharply to snap 2 straight days of losses. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was up 186 points. The S&P 500 finished up 21 points, and the Nasdaq reached an all-time high, ending the session by gaining 87 points. I'm Michael Toscano.
Hey, I'm Brant. Maybe you've heard us talking about MetaShare on the radio or heard people saying how they're really thankful for MetaShare, and you're like, Okay, what exactly are you talking about? Hey, it's a great question. So here's what it is. Medishare is a nationwide community of Christians who share each other's medical costs. Here's why it's grown so much. Medishare costs about half what other healthcare programs cost. It's flexible too, so you can pick a plan that fits your monthly budget, and you get to choose your own doctor from one of America's largest networks. Something else people really appreciate? You don't have to pay for procedures or prescriptions that go against your beliefs. And you know what the best part is? It works. And it's worked for more than 20 years. People who've experienced catastrophic health bills get their needs met. People pray for each other. Medishare is a nonprofit, faith-based ministry, and it could be a huge blessing to you. Here's how you can find out more. Call 844-91-BIBLE, now available in Montana. Call 844-91-BIBLE, 844-91-BIBLE.
Thursday Night Football tonight featuring a battle of division leaders, the Tennessee Titans taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Tennessee has won 4 in a row, improving to 6-3, tied with Jacksonville atop the AFC South. But linebacker Brian Arakpo says they have another tough offense to deal with tonight.
We faced some very, very good offenses, some very great offense, and this is one of them. So definitely going to be a huge task for us, and 2 good teams that are division leaders going at it, man. It's going to be a great one to watch.
The Steelers are also riding a 4-game winning streak that has them on top of the AFC North at 7-2. Steelers cornerback Cody Sensabaugh will be facing his former teammate Marcus Mariota.
He can run the ball. He can throw the ball. He's a lot more mature and wiser now than when I was there with him. So he's grown a lot in the year and a half that I've been gone, I guess. So, I'm looking forward to competing against him and the rest of those guys.
That's Thursday Night Football. The game gets underway tonight at 8:25 Eastern Time. I'm Michael Toscano.
Don't do what I did and run out. If it's working, don't quit. Why would you stop? Why undo all the good that's been accomplished?
You've got to feed them right for life.
Dynavite is nutrition.
If I ever took Roy off of Dynavite...
No.
When I get to about 3/4...
When I get down to the bottom of my box of Dynavite, oh no, I've got a couple more scoops. It's time to place my order. Dynavite.com. DINOVITE.com.
859-428-1000.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a bottle of Super Omega Fish Oil free.
Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Omega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Free this week at Dynavite.com.
Just feed your dog right. Use Dynavite.
Dynavite for life.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINO.
Good afternoon. It's 4:05 for 1510 a.m. WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. My name is Brian Kelly. Let's hit some headlines right here. The GOP House tax plan has passed, but it still might be stumbling in the Senate. Ron Johnson is the first Republican senator to announce his opposition of the GOP tax overhaul. Ron Johnson will be a guest on the Devil's Advocates tomorrow afternoon. The company that owns the Boston store say they will close 40 stores next year. Wisconsin Attorney General Brad Schimel was at Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort last weekend. The Wisconsin Senate plans to offer training on sexual harassment policy in the near future. And Milwaukee Brewers have a new agreement with the city of Phoenix to continue holding their spring training at Maryvale Baseball Park for at least another 25 years. Tonight, increasing clouds. Lows in the low 30s. Tomorrow, 50% chance of rain. Highs in the low 40s. It's currently 37 degrees in Milwaukee and 35 in Waukesha. For 1510 a.m., my name is Brian Kelly.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. We've been joined here for the 4 o'clock happy half hour by Joe Zepecki, a fine dim strategist, a friend of ours, a man that can look forward to being sexually harassed unmercifully over the next 20 or 30 minutes. Joe, I know this is bothering you. I can tell you are already offended, and we haven't even started.
I'm not offended by you guys today. I'm offended that every time I turn on my television, it turns out that someone else is apparently a raging sex monster who cannot be expected to act civilly towards women, and that is, I'm sorry, it's depressing. Or men, or children. It is really, really tough to see this, and I just hope the good that comes out of it is that behavior changes and people are held accountable. It's not about political party. It's about acting right. And boy,
Well, Joe,
where does it end?
I will say this. I talk a good game, and I talk lots of trash, but I don't think there will ever be a Crudy accuser that comes around the bend saying, remember that time you did such and such, or a plethora of accusers, as is usually the case, because people that perpetrate once tend to do so over and over again. But, I even think about this, and Dom and I were kind of teasing each other on the way back from lunch. My poor wife, she may have consented broadly to sex with me. She married me. But did she consent to every time I want to grope her? I don't think so. I know it's irritating to her, but it's permissible behavior. You bend over at my house, you're going to get a slap on the ass. That's just how it goes. But that does not mean that I display that same behavior in the workplace unless you come around, Joe.
In the workplace with people you have just met with whom you have no relationship. A couple of weeks ago, somebody wrote a long article, but here's how you stop sexual harassment from men in positions of power. And you just assume that every single woman you meet is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And you will get your ass beat if you so much as look at them cross-eyed. And I think that that's a good rule. If that's what it takes, let's do it, because the behaviors have to change.
Yes, but there was also, we are, as human beings, we're sexual beings. And you can't have sex with a stranger if you get to know them first. See what I'm saying? I mean...
What, Dom, if you know her name, it's just not the same?
If you ever been in a situation, you ever know anybody who's been in a situation that went out at night, met a person, they end up having relations that evening? I mean, those are strangers.
Donald Trump Jr.'s got some hookups he doesn't recall.
Consensual relations between adults is not what we're talking about.
Whether
what
or
we're
not
talking about is people
but we're also
abusing
talking
their
about
power.
Yeah, certainly, no doubt about it. But we're also talking about whether or not there is a rapport or a relationship.
Talking about sexual dynamics.
Yes, and being able to play that out and understand those dynamics certainly is a difficult a situation for lots of people. And I think the danger is when you get a lot of these men that all of a sudden get some money, they get some power, they get some beautiful women or men, doesn't even matter, walking around. Well, they start to get a little boisterous, and perhaps sometimes it works. Perhaps that dynamic, the stranger, the mystery of it all. Well, now it's habit, and no one ever says no. So they keep going. It's like a drug. There are sex addicts out there. There are people out there like that. Now, not to excuse any of this behavior, and I'm totally with you, totally unacceptable. Sex between consenting adults is really what it's all about.
Exactly, and just we talk about the example that we set. And listen, last year throughout the presidential campaign, I and a lot of other people said time and time again, Donald Trump sets a bad example, not just for adults. Our children are watching, right? That was the most famous ad Hillary ran. Our kids are watching. Right now, kids who are coming of age, 10 through 14, so what does this mean? I mean, I'm afraid to have the news on in our house. Yeah. It's a serious issue. People need to change their behavior, act right, respect one another. But let's get to Walker bashing.
Yes, please. I am so with you on this count. I don't want to be a liar to our great audience. I promised some Walker bashing. Let's get to it. Joe, do you know there are 10 most popular governors in the United States, and there are 10 least popular governors in the United States predicated on approval, disapproval, right track, wrong track, sort of.
Which group does Scott Walker fall into?
The wanker is in the least popular governors in the United States. And I
love being governor.
I thought for a second, perhaps this was a partisan poll. Morning Consult, I believe I found it at. But top 10 most popular governors in the United States, all Republicans.
I think the most popular is Governor Hogan in Maryland, correct?
Number 2.
Charlie Baker from
Massachusetts.
A
Two
Republican
Republicans governing
in
blue
states. And then you got Governor Scott Walker in the state of Wisconsin. And you ask any Republican, this has become a quote-unquote red state. They'd tell you. And yet Governor Scott Walker, number 9 from the bottom, 41st overall in the entire United States in terms of popularity. Right track, wrong track. And 9 or 8 of the least popular governors in the United States, also Republicans, 1 independent, 1 Democrat on the list.
Well, I think 36 or 38 of the governors across the country are Republicans, so they're more likely to be on the list when there's that many of them. But let's talk about Governor Walker. I have a new theory. It's not a new theory. It's just an update on an old theory for why he might be so close to the bottom. Turns out he owes the state of Wisconsin 110,000 jobs.
Wasn't true. It was a Scott Walker, a Scott P. Walker. I'm Scott Kevin Walker.
Wait, how did you come up with 110? Now, 250,000 was the
No. We are talking about the jobs deficit under Scott Walker.
Define that, please.
Center for American Progress. From January 2011, that would be the month Governor Walker took office, to June 2017, Wisconsin added 219,000 private sector jobs at a growth rate of 9.4%. Over the same time period, private sector employment in neighboring Minnesota grew by 12.2%, and total U.S. private sector employment grew by 14.2%. Had Wisconsin's job growth matched Minnesota's rate, it would have created an additional 65,000 jobs. Had its growth matched the national rate, it would have added an additional 111,000 jobs.
So Scott Walker doesn't owe us the deficiency between the 250,000 jobs he promised. He owes us the deficiency from the jobs he should have created. And according to our friend Joe Zepecki, that's 111,000 jobs, according to the Center for Media and
Center for American Progress. I want my 110,000 jobs. And what we see there is that there is a cost to what Governor Walker has done from the moment he took office. And by the way, if you look up Data Wonk on Urban Milwaukee, this is a problem exacerbated by Scott Walker. Okay, the deficit between Wisconsin job creation and national job creation is 3 times worse under Scott Walker than it was under Jim Doyle.
Yeah.
Well, under Jim Doyle, we were 11th in the nation for new private sector job growth in Jim Doyle's last year. We were actually doing pretty well. 35,000 jobs created, I believe, that year. 11th in the nation. That was on the tail end of the recession. And then the Wankinator instituted the bomb, Act 10. And that was the point, Joe, where Wisconsin diverged from the national economy. That is the point where we started dragging along the bottom these austerity measures, these anti-union measures, these anti-teacher measures. The dividing and conquering of Wisconsin has been at the detriment of the Wisconsin economy, sir.
Turns out if everything you do is geared towards those at the top and big business and just writing them blank checks and giving them everything they want, it doesn't actually trickle down and help everybody.
Really?
I know. I thought we learned this some 35 years ago.
I don't think so. I think I heard some people talking about this just this week.
And, you know, time after time, you see Governor Walker with this relationship to big business and big donors, people who are millionaires and billionaires. I mean, it's like they're attached via umbilical cord and nobody can cut it. That whatever they want, they get from the governor. He's not working for the people of Wisconsin. And when we look at the Republican Party broadly, what do we see today? The Senate tax reform plan. Everybody making under $75,000 a year is going to see a tax increase over the next 10 years under the Republican plan, supported by Scott Walker, being championed by Paul Ryan. They are not the family of working men and women. It is so obvious and so blatant and so clear that it's time for a change.
Folks, you're listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Joe Zepecki, Dem strategist, Zepecki Communications, joins us in the studio. Joe, the jobs thing I think is something that can resonate. It's got to be simple, though. I mean, obviously he's failed in his pledge, his promise, his accountability to create the 250,000 jobs. And as you talk about this other statistic, it's showing that, well, if we had just had Minnesota's growth or even kept up with the national average, we'd have another 111,000 jobs. How do you bumper sticker that? How do you get that out amongst the people? Certainly the independents, but even the Republicans who sit there and listen to Scott Walker, and because he's their guy, they want to believe him. How do you drive that point home efficiently?
I think it's about tone. Listen, our folks on our side who are going to be with us, no matter which one of the 73 Democrats running for governor is the nominee, there are some people who are on our team no matter what. There are some people who are what I would call maybe soft Republicans who are very gettable. There are people in the middle who sometimes, we call them Obama Walker voters, or maybe Obama Walker Trump voters, or Obama Walker Sanders voters. The point is, Scott Walker made a case to the people of Wisconsin 8 years ago. And a lot of people, once they make a choice, they want to give somebody a chance. After 8 long years, the point is the results are in, and he has left us wanting. There is a 110,000 job deficit that he owes us. He has fallen short, and it's costing Wisconsin's middle class. It is time for a change. And I think people, if you have that conversation, you lay it out very matter-of-factly, and it comes from an authentic place, I think people are ready and willing to have that conversation.
Well, Joe, let's do a little simple math on the radio. You know how we love doing it.
Every time I'm on math.
If we're 110,000 jobs short, 111,000, and Scotty Wanker has offered $3 billion for up to 13,000 jobs, Joe, he just needs another $27 billion to incentivize foreign corporations. And I got to feel like we would have full employment in Illinois by then.
And I'm sure the governor of Illinois would say, great, bring it on. Let's do it.
They're already saying, great, bring it on. Let's do it. It's easy for them to get there.
Come on, Bruce Rodner. What's his name? Fancy Brian?
Bruce Rauner. And by the way,
he's on that list.
2
least
years.
Popular governors.
Went 2 years without passing a budget.
Budgets?
Even the losers.
We don't need no stinking budgets. Hey, Joe, we're playing this one for you, man.
Ow!
I did get lucky.
You did get very lucky.
I ended up here today.
That's the only luck you need. Folks, we are the Devil's Advocates. Stick around. We get to go for like 10 more minutes, and the frickin' FCC shuts us down. But you will learn, if you're smart and lucky, to live stream us each and every day. NewsTalk1510am.com. More with Joe Zepecki. The happy hour continues on Brady.
The 250,000 is my floor, not my ceiling. I think it's at least 250,000 jobs.
We're going to do well with the voters because what I hear overwhelmingly is they want help with jobs.
250,000 is a minimum. It's just the base.
I was elected last year largely because I have a plan, a specific detailed plan to help the private sector of our state create 250,000 jobs.
Well, the only campaign I'm focused in on is to create 250,000 jobs here in the state. And I think as long as I stay focused on that, as long as we try to bring, at least in the legislature, Republicans and Democrats together to help the people of the state create more jobs, I think we're going to be fine.
I'll be judged in my state, and I suppose ultimately by anybody else, by how effective I am at helping the people of our state create 250,000 jobs.
Is this a campaign promise, something you want to be held to?
Absolutely.
Wanker!
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
Hi, this is Brad Saug, owner of Zero Res Madison Carpet Cleaning. Zero Res is the best new technology in carpet cleaning. We have a patented process using empowered water, a high-tech process in which we force the water to act like soap. It doesn't want to stay in that state. It's jacked up and it's angry and it wants to hit the dirt and then it neutralizes. When we're done, all that's left in your carpet is just light moisture. In the end, you get the cleanest, greenest, healthiest carpet cleaning available. Call us at 848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it backward or forward, it's the right way to clean.
Here's a great shot of your uncles, your grandma. Hey, see this photo from my trip to Utah with your grandpa?
Yeah.
Beautiful lands. That's where I shot my first deer.
Can we go hunt there?
Probably not for long. Some politicians in Washington think those hunting areas aren't worth protecting.
Why not?
Well, some of them think they know better than us. And they want to sell off public lands for private development, no matter the consequences.
Ugh, that's just wrong. Don't public lands belong to all of us?
Well, they do for now. I'll tell you what, those deer sure aren't going to stick around once they start drilling areas like this.
Dad, that's crazy.
It sure is. It sure is.
Speaker Paul Ryan, please stop these attacks on our national monuments. Paid for by Wisconsin Wildlife Federation.
We are the People for People Corporation. We are a registered 501c3, totally legit. What do? We take your uncapped, dark money, tax-deductible donations, private or corporate, always anonymous, and we turn it into free speech. You know, educate Wisconsin through advertising, which may or may not be in coordination with the candidate. Isn't that illegal? It should be, but it's not under Wisconsin law, thanks Governor Scott Walker. Politicians in Wisconsin are beholden to the millionaire and billionaire sugar daddy and sugar mamas that finance their campaigns. Time to make them beholden to we the people for People Corporation. Give your tax-deductible donation to the real patriots, the People for People Corporation, P for ppc.org, P, the number 4, ppc.org.
Hey folks, sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here. Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
Marijuana is not as dangerous as heroin. Would you agree with that?
I think that's correct.
When they go low, we get high. Dom and Krutz are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back from the 420 break. Thank you so much for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, 1510 a.m. If you miss any of this fine program, please go check out the website for podcasts and interviews, domandcrute.com.
Your buddy Ron Johnson on the TV right now. He'll be in studio on Brady Street tomorrow at 3:30. You better tune in. Tammy Baldwin joining our friend Earl tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. Big day on Brady Street. We got a big day right now because we got Joe Sapecki for at least one more segment, I hope. Joe, don't run out on us now.
You got 1/50th of the United States Senate tomorrow and me today?
Yeah. Well, tomorrow we won't be as fun as today, but we'll take what we can get.
Got to get a better booker.
Two big shows. Joe, before we run out of time, and the FCC makes us shut the AM signal off soon, so get ready. newstalk1510am.com. Live stream us. But Joe, the Goobinator, wanker at the RGA, had this to say. I want to get your reaction. Talking about the fear of a midterm wipeout after the Virginia loss. Here's what Walker asked the RGA. What is driving the turnout? Is it a specific issue? Is it a specific region? Is it a specific type of voter? What impact of Washington? Walker said without offering an answer. One more here from the Wankinator.
He doesn't have any answers for anything.
He, of course, is the RGA chair. Here's what he says. Now, my biggest fear is not who my opponent's going to be. It's how much money is going to come from the Obama Holder Group and how much I can offset that.
Call the Wambulance. This is absurd. President Obama and former Attorney General Holder are part of a nationwide effort to communicate about the dangers of partisan gerrymandering and change the way that lines are drawn in this country. As far as I'm aware, they haven't said the words, Scott Walker.
But who is the king of partisan gerrymandering?
Apparently he's got a guilty conscience and just assumes they're going to dump it all on his head. It's absurd.
I hope Scott Walker can fundraise adequately. I'd hate him to be under-resourced.
Me too, but here's what I got to say about the wipeout that they fear is coming. Let's go surfing now. Every Dem is learning how. That's what we got to do.
Nice.
We got to build a big-ass surfboard and ride the wave.
Joe Zepecki, he doesn't just play grab ass here in the studio on Brady Street.
Hands up.
He's a fine Dem strategist with Zepecki Strategies.
Communications.
Whatever.
Zepecki Communications.
No, I'm bad.
Just don't call me late for dinner.
Come back, more Devil's Advocates, but only on the live stream, newstalk1510am.com.
Good people don't smoke marijuana.
You're crazy.
You know, I'm an Eagle Scout.
Good evening, everyone. Due to FCC regulations and that we are a daytime AM radio station, this now concludes our broadcast day. But you don't have to leave us. We do stream online 24/7 at newstalk1510am.com. That's newstalk1510am.com. Or check us out on the TuneIn app at WRRD 1510 AM. For those of you already streaming, we now continue regular programming, and please welcome your friends from the radio station. Say hi, everyone. News Talk 1510 AM, WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
You've been taking the right actions, resisting the GOP's destruction of our state and country. You've marched, written letters, and listened to those busy signals day after day. Countless times you've hashtagged and frowny-faced articles on social media. You're not alone, but it's time to take the next steps. All politics are local. Support, vote, and elect progressive candidates to office with your Democratic Party. Your ideas and energy are what the party is missing. This ad sponsored by the Walworth County Dems, walworthdems.org.
The Devil's Advocates. Political commentary from the back of the class.
Hey, Ike, welcome to the Devil's Advocates. What do you got for us today?
Fantastic. Thanks for taking a call. And I got to start out with my favorite wrestler, Bobby the Brain Heenan.
If the Wankinator was a wrestler, who do you think would most personify the current governor?
I got a great name for him. Scott the Shyster Walker. I think that should be his wrestling name.
I think it's already been used. I think it's his skateboard name, sir. Allegedly.
The Stephanie Miller Show is on twice daily, 6 to 9 p.m. and midnight to 3 a.m. You can stream The Stephanie Miller Show and all of our fine programming on newstalk1510am.com.
Hi, I'm Crudy. I'm here with my friend Tom Alonzi, Principal Officer with Teamsters Local 200. Tom, why are you union strong, Teamster strong?
Well, because, Crudy, the Teamsters are the most powerful labor union in North America with 1.4 million members, standing together for better wages, benefits, and working conditions at their respective places of work.
Tom, what are the unions going to do for the next generation?
The same things we Teamsters have done for the generations before them, Crudy. Give them respect, dignity, and representation with a legal binding contract with their employer, not just the empty promises of an ever-changing employee handbook.
Tom, if people want to know more about the unions or joining the Teamsters, what do they do?
Well, Crudy, they can simply call Teamsters Local 200 at 414-771-6363 and say, I'd like to know more about becoming a Teamster. Or they can go to our website at teamsterslocal200.com.
Be union strong. Stand with Teamsters Local 200, like News Talk 1510 AM and your friend Crudy.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions?
No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework.
Home Walk Restaurant. Need a review?
No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized.
I think I understand.
Oh, good.
Finding best potatoes for French fries.
No!
Russet. Fingerling. Yukon Gold.
Why don't you understand me?
Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Brought to you by understood.org and the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week, she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
It's rock and roll political commentary in a top 40 world.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Poor Joe, why?
Why do you come back?
Would you subject yourself to this, sir?
Why
do you
man.
come on this show, as I once asked Ron Johnson, in all sincerity?
What did he say? I think I might copy his answer.
He said something to the effect,
I like you guys.
This is intelligent conversation. It takes all kinds to make the world go around, and you guys are all kinds.
He must not listen most days.
I can't believe that's true. I would think Ron is one of the... He'll get to yes eventually on this bill, I suspect.
Well, if they respond the way he wants them to, he may. But I mean,
and he's got a legitimate gripe. As a small business owner, I got to tell you, I'm a designated S. I'm a pass-through.
Same here.
No tax reform for me included in this most recent Republican bill. So if they truly want to help small business owners...
Paul Ryan doesn't want to help small business owners.
No, they want to
help big business
gigantic
owners.
corporation owners.
Small business owners
like the
do
Kochs.
not contribute like the Kochs do, like the large corporations do. I mean, really,
don't contribute to their campaigns. Believe me, I contribute to the economy. All right?
Oh, I see.
I pay my taxes, my property
hey,
taxes.
You're no Ron Johnson.
And I hope I never become a Ron Johnson.
It is. I would agree. It is a legitimate
gripe. Hey, buddy, all you got to do is marry well.
We do have a tax problem in this country. I mean, we have a very complex tax code, and taxes are complex. And when you have everyone wanting their own little individual carve out, and this goes from, wealthy people to poorer people, anyone with a mortgage. The renters probably don't mind if someone loses their mortgage interest deduction. What break have the renters ever gotten?
Well, the renters already got it stuck to them here in the state of Wisconsin by Scott Walker, the man who claims he never raised taxes, eliminated the earned income credit. That was one of his first acts, right, Joe? Didn't mind raising taxes on the working poor.
And also eliminated the homestead exemption, which hit seniors particularly hard. And he owes us 110,000 jobs.
Oh, yeah, minor detail.
But most importantly, don't believe the fiction that the man never raised taxes, because he's got no qualms raising poor people's taxes.
Correct. And if you know anything about Leah Vukmir and Kevin Nicholson, know this.
What's that?
They support this abomination as it stands. If you make less than $75,000 a year, they support a tax plan to raise your income taxes. Period.
Well, they want to get the money, Joe.
Now, is that before or after the affordable health care, the individual mandate was repealed? How does that impact it from the
Senate? Well, that's in the Senate bill. That wasn't in the House bill.
They support the Senate bill.
Right.
The Senate bill also includes a repeal of the individual mandate within Obamacare. The two things Republicans seem to love more than anything, cutting taxes for super rich people, millionaires and billionaires, and taking health care away.
I thought you were going to say hating Obama.
It's crazy.
I got news for you, pal. They're going to nail us no matter what we do.
See? So then what is the attraction for those who aren't the, millionaire or billionaire class? Is it just that, man, I hope someday if I work really hard and pick myself up by my bootstraps that someday I will be the millionaire or billionaire, and then I, like them, will get a tax break. Isn't it really an incentive for the poor people to make more money?
I guess that's one
America
way to go
needs more billionaires.
Yes.
That start as poor people.
How many billionaires started as poor people?
Very few. When did that become the American dream, by the way? Did you ever aspire growing up? I mean, I get this
Wasn't there a song about it?
Well, I don't mean Bruno Mars. I want to be a freaking billionaire.
I want to be a billionaire.
So
freaking bad.
Well, that's the clean version. But here's my point. When did this become the American dream? When did we decide that being rich was something to be aspired to? It's not biblical.
Well, it depends on who you ask. And depends on whose interpretation of the Bible, man. There's lots of those,
setting aside the Joel
evangelicals that
Osteens of the world.
That, God wants you to be rich. And in some regards, if you believe that mantra, then if you're not rich, then for some way or some reason...
The rich are God's chosen people.
Yes, and if you are not rich, then there must be something wrong with you.
Be rich in love. Be rich in friendships and family. But in my view, like as I seem to recall it growing up, the middle class dream, the American dream was... You can buy a house. You can raise a family.
White picket fence. Don't forget the fence, Joe.
Take a vacation once a year. Set aside for your retirement and help your kids pay for college.
Dog named Rover.
And retire with dignity.
2.3 kids.
If you could do that, you're on your way. That's the American dream. So why everybody has to be a gazillionaire?
But is that the motivation for those who are not and most likely will not ever get to that level to continue to support people like the Republicans who would want to put out policies and tax policies that will be detrimental to their fiscal life?
Dominic, somebody's buying lottery tickets.
And you can't gamble, but the state has lotteries. That makes a lot of sense. You and I can't have a card game, but the state's going to have a lottery.
For entertainment purposes only.
Yes.
So you can aspire to be really rich. No, I know I'm injecting my thoughts now, but the U.S. economy has been stagnant for the workers for so many years. I mean, with the elimination or destruction of many of the labor unions, the average working stiff hasn't had a raise in 30 years. The future doesn't offer them anything better than the now. And when you know tomorrow is going to be just as bad as today, perhaps even worse, you got nothing left to do but dream or get on drugs. And this country's got a drug problem, certainly an opiate problem. People are trying to escape this inequity reality that is their depressing lives. And we got people, hoping and being convinced, being lied to by Trump and Walker and all the Republicans. Let's not forget Speaker Ryan. Someday with Republican vote and a good tax policy, you'll all be billionaires. Well, that's just not true, Joe. We know that mathematically, statistically, it doesn't work. Not enough money in the world. But quite frankly, Republicans, working class Republicans, have been convinced, they have been boondoggled that somehow these Republicans give a damn about them, and that's not really the case, is it?
Sure doesn't seem that way based on the policy prescriptions that they put forth.
What, man, you drink half a beer, you can't even complete a thought or a sentence?
Folks are listening.
I was expecting more from you today,
Folks
Joe.
who are listening to
I'm
the
a guest, not a co-host.
Well, I'm a long-winded asker. You got to give me a long-winded
One time
answer.
I was an assistant devil for the day. Poor Mike in wherever was like, I want Dom back.
Oh, that was Dave in Evansville.
Dave in Evansville.
It's different when Dom's not
calls
here.
up. He goes, man, Crudy, you got to be nicer to Dom, man. You're always giving him such a hard time. Let me tell you.
That's all right.
When he's not there, when that other guy's filling in, boy, that show sucks.
Hey, Joe, truth be known, one time I had to protect my buddy Dom, my little buddy from Dave.
He was a very passionate man sometimes. We are the
Thanks
Devil's,
for listening, Dave.
We are the Devil's Advocates live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio 1510 AM WRRD.
Dave, formerly a big fan.
And still is. Dave, give us a call. Anybody can give us a call if you choose 844-967-2789. Joe Zepecki, Zepecki Communications in studio. Joe, Do you see a wave coming? Do you think that Virginia is going to be the start of it? Do you think here in the state of Wisconsin we're going to have some changes? Will we be able to ride that wave, and what's it going to take to do so?
We need good candidates, and we're getting them. If you look up in northwestern Wisconsin, there's going to be a special election in January. Very compelling and interesting candidate announced on the Democratic side. I think you're going to have a bit of a Foxconn primary on the Republican side. You've got one Republican who voted for Foxconn, one who voted against it. It's a tough district, okay? That's the Minneapolis media market, typically about a 10-point edge for Republicans. That's a race where, the dynamics are difficult because it's Minneapolis, and in some ways, that's where the Vikings fans that live in Minnesota are. It's tough to watch the Packers. They don't really feel very connected to the state of Wisconsin. But I'm going to watch that race very closely. I think there's going to, because of the background of the candidate, it's a woman who is the medical examiner. She's a bear hunting, ice fishing badass by all accounts. I think she's going to turn some heads. And I think when you look at what's happening in other states around the country, in Oklahoma, I think we just flipped a seat last week, something like a 35-point plus district for Republicans.
Wow.
Joe, did you see the Democratic Party chair of the state of Oklahoma? 25-year-old woman.
Love it.
Talking about new blood.
Yeah.
And she talked about the fact they've gotten tremendous candidates out of Oklahoma. They got all kinds of excitement in a red state. We're winning blue seats in red states. You can't say Oklahoma ain't Republican.
No, they're winning red seats in red states. And that's, if you're
return to blue, that was my point,
yeah,
Joe.
If you're listening in Northwest Wisconsin on the stream, figure out who, I think it's Patty Schachter. Visit the website. See what you can do to help her out. Talk to your neighbors about her. We got an opportunity to really set the tone in January of 2018 for what's going to happen in November of 2018.
Joe, let me ask you, as you mentioned, lots of Democrats and good quality Democrats stepping up wanting to run against Governor Walker here. Going to be a hell of a primary. Any concern that everyone blows their wad of money during the primary and then you're left empty-handed going up against Scott Walker? Number one question. Number two, is any Republican seriously consider, has anybody jumped on to perhaps primary Walker?
I don't think he'll have a primary opponent.
Not a legitimate one. Someone has declared, but he won't acknowledge there is a primary opponent. There will be no primary debate.
He'll get 99.9% of his primary vote if there's somebody else who even qualifies for the ballot. In terms of what's going to happen on the Democratic side, I think it's going to be pretty clear going into next summer who the top tier of candidates, maybe the 2 to 4 people who have a realistic shot at winning this thing are. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's entirely possible you have a smaller field going into Election Day than you have today.
Is the money raising, is that really what it's going to shake it out?
I think that's the most important thing for the next 6 months for the Democrats running for governor, because it's about 6 months from now that nomination signatures are due, that people will actually, it's one thing to file. It's another to put your name on the ballot. Yeah. And if you've been out there for 7-8 months and you can't raise the money, and you can't give it a go.
That's saying something, right?
Pack up your bags and call it a day.
Hell, Halsey's filed. He hasn't declared, but he'll be on the ballot, I suspect.
All right, let's take a phone call. We asked for him, 844-967-2789. Joe, you have any objection? Let's take our buddy Ignacio. Hey, man. Welcome back, Ignacio. What do you got for us today?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Awesome, man. How you been?
I am just amazed. I'm sorry I took a bit of a small time off. But I did listen to you guys while you were on. Anyway, I'm amazed at the American public. I'm still amazed, and I know I shouldn't be, but I am still amazed at how stupid we are. We think that the casting couch never existed. All of a sudden, it's, oh, my God, it can't be, I mean, come on, man. Everybody since I was a kid, I knew about the casting couch. Everybody did. And all of a sudden, it's like, oh, my God, really? Oh, my God, really? Please, come on, America.
Ignacio,
wake up. Stupid.
Have you ever been on the casting couch?
With a lovely actress? No, I wish, but no, unfortunately not. But
no, Ignacio, look, hang on, if I may respond, and I get it, man, and there's no doubt about it, and that's how it has been. But is that how it should be? I mean, if
no,
so with all these people coming out nonstop, left and right, Dems, Republicans, however you want to call it, I mean, these are good things. Do you think the casting couch will continue on given the current conversation today?
But here's the thing. I don't think it should be that way, but you know what really gets my ire up? Is when you hear all these pompous Congress people that are doing the same thing but get away with it, saying, oh, well, they're just attacking me because it's political. And excuse me, but aren't you supposed to be doing the right thing? And they're also amazed that, oh, my God, so-and-so did such and such. You know, and it's like, why is it surprising? I mean,
nobody's really surprised, Ignacio. They might be repelled, but I don't think anybody's surprised, my friend.
I think people are fed up. That's what I think. And I think a lot of women and a lot of people who would normally, not want to speak up because of their position and afraid of speaking to the truth to power are starting to feel emboldened, and I encourage everyone to continue to do that. The only way that's going to stop is if you punch them in the face when they come at you. That's why I tell my daughter, I'm watching the news. Joe, you mentioned I hate to watch it with your daughter, but
get her a tiger claw.
Every time something comes out, honey, stay away from this. Honey, do that. If something comes at you, defend yourself at all means. No one has the right over you ever, ever, ever. And I think that mentality certainly is starting to hopefully blossom here in this country. Because it doesn't matter who's got the power or the money. Everyone's got their self-respect, and no one has the right to you or your body or your mind without you giving it to them.
I'd like to see more females win higher elective office. I'd like to see more females in the boardroom. You want equity? It's got to start in the workplace. And the political workplace, that's where we work. Folks, we are the Devil's Advocates. Come back with us live to stream, newstalk1510am.com. Joe, you leaving, buddy?
I'm out.
All right, Joe. Thanks a lot, man.
Joe Zepecki. Fight the Communications. Power. Thank you, Joe. Always a pleasure, man.
So freaking bad.
What a shame that a few bad apples have to spoil a good time for everyone.
It sounds nice. It's not nice. It's not good.
Did you ever eat a perfect peach? Flavorful and succulent, juice dripping from your mouth. That's what you can expect every time you shop at Pete's Fruit Market. A perfect peach or any other fresh produce to satisfy your taste buds. Try Pete's brand new, clean, bottled, full-service grocery store on Martin Luther King and North Avenue. Daily specials, organic fruits and vegetables, and always a perfect peach. Go to Pete's Fruit Market in Bronzeville. Tell them the Devil's Advocates sent you.
I was on Zero Res Madison's Facebook page the other day, and they have almost 2,000 testimonials from local customers. Apparently, I am not the only one stoked on how cool this company is. A green technology that actually works better and doesn't cost more. It's a no-brainer. I'm in. We are starting our own Devil's Advocates revolution to free your carpets from harsh chemicals and soaps. Call Zero Res today and ask for the Diamond Crude Special 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean.
When you need an attorney, trust the voice of experience. The only choice, Lawton and Cates.
I needed an attorney because I was injured at work. I wanted to find a reputable attorney. The results that I got with Lawton and Cates were very good. I'm very happy with the way I was treated and the end result that I got.
Trust the voice of experience. Call the attorneys at Lawton and Cates. 282-6200. 282-6200.
Grass-fed, locally raised.
Tom Perez, chairman of the Democratic National Committee.
Hey, great to be with you. And since I spoke last, I went to my first game at Camp Randall. So
all right.
I was very excited.
Well, I feel quite confident that was a victory as my team's undefeated, Tom.
Hey, I agree. Our team, you should say. My daughter is there at Madison.
Oh, that's right.
It was a great day.
Happy
great
Badgers.
Day.
The Devil's Advocates, weekday afternoons on 1510 AM, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call a number on the for sale sign?
Great question. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you the home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner to buy that house at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust.
Like you?
Like me. I will find the home that best fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from the offer through closing day. And the best part is that the buyer doesn't have to pay a dime for me to represent them.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty. 608 284-9311 or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
If you're like a lot of companies, you know you need IT, but you aren't sure where to start. That's where Five Nines comes in. Hi, I'm Todd Stryker, President and CEO. For almost 15 years, Five Nines has been providing IT solutions to companies just like yours. We'll show you the solutions that are right for your business and give you the roadmap to success in the future. Find us at fivenines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
In 50 feet, turn left. Why are you driving so slowly?
After a few drinks, I'm taking it slow.
Well, you're not fooling the cop behind you.
What?
Get ready to pay in 0.1 miles.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Well, I'm going to talk to you about that, Ron.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. We're on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, 1510 AM WRRD. You can join us last segment of the day, 844-967-2789.
We would like to thank our friend Joe Zepecki, a fine guest and a man who may never be the same. Those watching along on the Facebook live stream know that Joe Zepecki was just completely sexually harassed before we let him out of the studio.
He was not harassed. I asked permission before I kissed him on the cheek. He said yes.
I didn't ask him permission before I groped him. You can find that fine photo. Some might call it evidence in future criminal trials, but you can find it. We'll post the podcast, or accurately, Sexy Fancy Brian in there will post it.
Then it came in and out. It came in 3 times.
And it will be up at WRRD 1510 AM's page, which, of course, is newstalk1510am.com. Hopefully, you're live streaming us there now or on the Facebook, and then you're already aware Joe is a changed man moving forward. Dom, big guest coming tomorrow. Want to thank a few of the fine guests we had today. They include Christine Newman-Ortiz and our friend Joe Zepecki from Zepecki Communications. Although I think you should consider changing that to Zepecki Strategies.
Because you said so.
Well, because that's my bright idea. But tomorrow morning, our buddy Earl is going to have a fine guest, 8:30 a.m. live on Brady Street. Senator Kathleen Baldwin. Oh, pardon me.
Tammy Baldwin. Tomorrow from 7 to 9 at 8:30. Tammy Baldwin's coming.
8:30 a.m. My understanding, Tammy will be live in this very window I stand in now right here on Brady Street. And then tomorrow at 3:30, the Republican no on the tax cut for the very wealthy bill. Well, Ron Johnson, he apparently doesn't like the plan because it does not contain a tax cut for either Ron or myself, Dom.
Well, I'm going to talk to you about that, Ron.
Yes.
I am going to talk to Ron about that. I happen to agree with him, at least in a selfish sort of fashion. I'd like a tax cut. How do I get a tax cut?
Well, apparently Donald Trump called him almost immediately upon hearing yesterday that Senator Johnson was a no, at least for now, on the cut plan.
I bet he ends up as a yes. Dom, we talked with a friend, Ronnie Monroe, just the other day, Enbridge Pipeline 61, and other topics of, oil pipelines. But there's some breaking news. What is it, Dom?
CNN is reporting right now, breaking news, a total of 210,000 gallons of oil leaked Thursday from the Keystone Pipeline in Marshall County, South Dakota. The pipeline operator TransCanada said crews shut down the pipeline Thursday morning and officials are investigating the cause of the leak. This is the largest Keystone oil spill to date in South Dakota.
Give them time. There'll be bigger ones,
said Brian Walsh, a spokesman for the State Department of Environment and Natural Resources. In April of 2016, there was a 400-barrel release, about 16,800 gallons, with the majority of the oil cleanup completed in 2 months. There were no initial reports of the spill affecting waterways, water systems, or wildlife. He said, TransCanada says, working with the state and federal agencies. The company said, quote, "The safety of the public and environment are our top priorities, and we will continue to provide updates as they become available. Again, 210,000 gallons of oil leaked from the Keystone Pipeline.
Dom, Fox News poll, Jones beating Roy Moore by 8 points. According to Fox News, I still bet Moore wins in Alabama.
I'm telling you, man, that's not happening. Moore will not win Alabama. He's too Alabama for Alabama.
Democrat Jimmy Anderson, a rookie assemblyman here in the state of Wisconsin, called for Senator Al Franken to step down. That's a bold step. Folks, we're the Devil's Advocates, always bold. Tomorrow, even bolder, U.S. Senator Ron Johnson live in studio. Don't forget, our buddy Earl has Tammy Baldwin at 8:30 a.m. Ron's joining us at 3:30. 150th of the U.S. Senate on Brady Street tomorrow. Another big day every day.
Then it came in and out. It came in 3 times.
Herpes, trust me.
Sounds nice. It's not nice.
Wisconsin's doing terribly. The roads are a disaster because they don't have any money to rebuild them. They're borrowing money like crazy. They projected a $1 billion surplus.